Hello, friends. Matt Murphy and for Brian Wilson on this Friday edition of The Drive. Thank you for being with us. It is 6 minutes after 3 o'clock, November 22nd, 2024. You probably knew that by now. After all, you're the smartest listening audience on planet Earth. It's my episode 700 on these airwaves, my 700th episode. And they said it wouldn't last. Whether I be on from noon until 3 or 3 until 7 o'clock, we count all of those on Supertalk 99.7 WT. And it's also Locks for Trump Day 265. And we appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. I thank you to Chad Benson once again for capably filling in during my time with Brian Wilson's The Drive. Obviously, Brian is slowly but surely winding his way to December 24th when he officially retires from full-time host duties on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. There's more news, I believe, coming about that in the coming weeks or months. And as soon as we know something, we'll say something. You're invited to be a part of the show on this First Amendment. I call it First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Your opportunity to speak truth to power. Whatever you have on your mind, it's time to get it off your chest and clean out that palate, clean out that mind, clean out that heart and soul for the weekend. You don't need to carry all of this baggage into the weekend. You got football to watch or family to welcome into town. Maybe you've got family coming in early for the Thanksgiving holiday. Whatever you might be doing, it is time to get all of that weekday junk out of your mind in preparation for the weekend. You can do that today on First Amendment Freestyle Friday by dialing us up at 615-737-9986. We take all comers, at least I do, Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday, I should say. And on these Fridays, my guarantee to you is that not only will I take your telephone call, but whatever you have to say, I'll act interested.
You'll talk to anybody, Brother
I'll talk
Murphy.
to anybody, Ken Weaver, and on these days, I will act invested and interested. You could be boring me to tears, but I'm going to be there with you all the way through the telephone call. We're going to be in this together. 615-737-9986. I like that hat, Ken Weaver. I love that hat, especially this weekend. We need you, Oklahoma.
Big upset in the making.
I
Big
feel
upset
it.
in the making.
I feel it in my guts and in my bones.
I have not told anybody at Alabama's hotel to put something in their food.
This just in. We've got a late-breaking report. There was a horrible food poisoning outbreak at Alabama Crimson Tide headquarters. Film at 11.
There's not going to be a big upset in the making.
We had like 15 seconds of hope.
We did.
But didn't you feel it? I felt it. I felt good about it for 15 seconds.
See, I told Ron today. Ron's our voice guy. You know, he's a big Tide fan. You know,
is he now?
I said, take it easy on us, man. And I mean, he's one of those Tide fans where he's kind of like you as a Georgia fan. Well, I don't know how it's going to. I said, look, I know how it's going to go, Ron. Our defense is going to be so tired after so many 3-and-outs by the second quarter. Jalen Milroe's probably going to run for about 350.
350. Yeah. One of the reasons I mean, there's a laundry list of reasons to like Ken Weaver. One of the reasons I like Ken is that, and I understand that this has not been the best introduction to the SEC for the Sooners this year. But I love the way you talk about football, man. I love the way you post about it on Facebook. And because I'm deep down, and my Bulldogs have had just incredible success over the last 4 years, but I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like it. I mean, I get itchy. I just get itchy all over it. I'm just a pessimistic football watcher.
It's a double-edged sword because you love it.
Yes.
But then you know that it could be fleeting.
Any second now. Could be over.
Yes.
Any second now, we could all be Auburn.
Or you could all be Oklahoma.
Well, I was going to say Oklahoma, but I didn't want to upset you. You got news to do. You got an afternoon drive show to take care of.
I'm telling you, dude, this season can't get over fast enough. It just can't.
Now. I don't know. I don't know that I feel that way about it, but I certainly understand why you feel that. I got hope, though. What time's that game tomorrow?
That game is, I don't know what time that game is.
Oh, no.
I think it's 7 o'clock or 6:45.
Oh, okay.
It's a night game.
Got you a night game going on.
So it's kind of like, whenever Mom would tell me in the morning in the summers, wait till your dad gets home. I got to wait all day long for an ass kicking.
Wait till your pappy, the Crimson Tide, gets here and see what's happening.
No, I love my Sooners. I do. And I love these boys for week in and week out coming in and fighting defense. But I'm a realist. I know. I know what can happen.
I believe that this season, there has not been a week this season, but just while we're spending 3 minutes on college football, here we go. All right, the clock's a ticking, Paul. I know it is. So, there has not been, I think I've got this right. There's not been a week where a top 10 team has not lost. I think that's right.
Except for Oregon.
No. I mean, there's not been a week where one of the 10 teams in the top 10 has gone down.
Oh, I see.
So every week, at least one of those top 10 teams, there's not been a week where all top 10 teams won their games.
I see. I got you. Yeah.
The chances of, I don't know what ranking Alabama's at, but the chances of Alabama going down to Oklahoma are, there's a shot. There's a chance.
That's why they play the game,
You're telling me there's a chance? There's a chance.
That's why they play the game.
Well, I'm going to enjoy it, whether you do or not, Ken Weaver.
Well, I love my Sooners. I freaking love them. I ride with them till the day I die. But it has been a painful, painful season. And I just remember it's over.
You've probably blocked this out of your mind. What's that kid's name? That quarter Arnold was that
Jackson Arnold.
Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, he's a good kid. He's a great kid.
He seems like a good kid. It was like the first game of the season, and I came in. You might not remember this, Ken, but I remember it. I came in and I said, I think that Jackson Arnold's pretty good.
Yes.
And Ken's like, well, we'll see. Well, we've seen.
Well, I mean, look, it's like this, dude. You know, as a national, you're a fan of a national championship winning program.
Yes, sir.
Oklahoma is a national championship winning program. I've seen when we've been at that level, and I knew from the get-go this year that we were nowhere near that level. From the get-go.
Well, there's a lot of hope that's happening this weekend. A lot of people, and here's what the 12-team playoff does for college football fans.
Yes, sir.
It gets you invested in other games, right? Because now the Tennessee Volunteers have to be invested.
Woo!
Who wins against A&M versus Auburn?
That's
or
right.
who wins against Oklahoma, Alabama? You got to concern yourself with all of those things for the chance that you might be still in the playoff picture, even with the 2 losses. So who knows?
Right.
Well, I hope your team wins, unless your team is UMass, in which case, welcome, Minutemen, to Athens.
Yeah, that ought to be a real warm welcome.
Enjoy your stay. They fired their coach this week. Did you see that? Mike, why didn't you just...
By the way, boys, we fired your coach.
And
everybody on the plane.
Going to Georgia. Going to go play the Dogs.
Aren't you excited?
Hey, everybody, I know it's going to be tough. It's going to be rough, but that's okay. Everybody get on the plane. And everybody's going, well, at least we got Coach. Hey, Coach, hang back for a minute, would you? Hey, Coach, just hold on just a second. Everybody else get on the plane. Coach, I need to say.
Scooter, get his bag.
Scooter, go ahead and get that bag.
Do they nickname people Scooter in
Hell yeah, they do.
In Maine?
If they don't, they better. They better start. I think you got to have a Scooter on the team. Jimbo, get his bag, buddy. Anyway, so yeah, we're playing the UMass Minutemen. They don't have a head coach. I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, Massachusetts. I said Maine.
It's whatever. It's one of those lobster states. Anyway, we've got real content to talk about, and Ken Weaver's got news breaking all over the joint, and he'll share some of that with us. We've got traffic information for you. We got Malinoff, aka KGB, behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. Hello, KGB.
Hello, sir.
It is my first opportunity to thank you for the wonderful invitation to play golf.
Yeah, happy to do it.
And I appreciate that so much. I will not go. I don't know what you're doing right in your life to be in such good graces with your family that you have an opportunity to play where you get to play on the regular. But it was pretty
regular's a strong
incredible.
word when I'm working.
Well, it's true.
I go when I can, but well, I think it's because I'm grateful for my family. I think that's how I'm in good graces. I'm always thankful for them.
Well,
that's the way to go, Brother Jeff.
Hey, Ken Weaver, I got to wave at Mr. Malinoff from afar.
Oh, yeah?
Hey, Mr. Malinoff!
He did interact with my dad. When we were golfing, we were on the third hole. That's where my parents live. And my dad I got out of the sand, had a pretty good out of the sand, and he goes, "Nice shot." I went, "Thanks, Dad." He's like, "Is it cold?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's not too bad."
Yeah. It's all right.
My dad's not a cold person. A man from California, not a cold person.
No, sir. Not Northern California.
No,
anyway.
absolutely not. Yeah. It was 40 degrees, so it wasn't too bad. I think he was more worried about the wind than anything else.
Down there, was that College Grove?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Hey,
Nice.
excuse me, Mel.
place.
It's called the Troubadour.
Yes, sir.
That's what it's called. And you know what?
Should I give their address while we're at it?
No. No, they can't get in. It's a gated community.
This is true.
Oh no, I had to show identification, Weaver.
Okay, so in my defense, I was supposed to get there before him and tell the guys at the gate, "Hey, I got a guest coming, Matt Murphy, big red truck. You'll know him from a mile out, probably wearing Bulldog stuff." And he goes, "Oh, he's already here." I was like, "Oh." And he goes, "Yeah, we talked about the Bulldogs for like 5 minutes." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
No, and this is what I told the guy. The guy said, "Who are you playing golf with?" I said, "Malinoff." He said, "Malinoff." I said, "Yeah, KGB." He said, "KGB." I said, "Yeah, Russian asset." He said, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah, I don't know about that part. I wasn't there for that, but
Well, that's right. You weren't, were you?
so I can't confirm nor deny this guy was like, "Oh yeah, a Russian asset."
I liked this. Hey, Weaver, I liked this joint from the beginning because of here's why. Because the guy, opens the door for me and we're talking, and I tell him who I'm playing with, and he says to me, and I feel like I was dressed nicely, and he said to me, "Well, we believe in an atmosphere where you get the best amenities and the best customer service, but we also like it to be laid back. For example, there's no dress code here." And then he kind of gave me the once over. As if to say, "Lucky for you."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I had dressed it down." And then one of the cart guys said that in the summertime they play without shirts or shoes.
Yes, it's a very casual golf. There is no dress code there.
My kind of golf.
Yeah.
John Daly would be welcome.
Yes, he would.
Well, he played there before. He played there with Trump in Kid Rock.
He take his shirt off?
Wait, Trump played at Troubadour?
Yeah,
You
two
buried
shorts.
the lead?
Oh, I thought I already told you this. Yeah, Trump. Kid Rock has a place there, and he invited him over. And Trump, I was at the driving range one day, me and my dad. Next thing I know, there's a big crowd of people. All of a sudden, like these 5 or 6 golf carts come along, and one of them is Trump, and one of them is John Daly with the biggest cooler you've ever seen next to him with beer, and it's like 8 in the morning. And I'm like, "Oh, he's already drunk. Got it." But like again, Trump doesn't drink, but John Daly was already drunk.
John Daly will drink it for everybody.
He is a very good drinker. He's a professional.
Weaver, you're not a golfer, are you, Ken?
No, I tried one time, and everybody behind me got mad.
John Daly, Bryson DeChambeau does these podcasts, which are absolutely brilliant. And they do one called Break 50, where he plays with another person, and they play Scramble, and they try to break 50. Anyway, Trump played it with him, and they shot a 50. And Donald Trump is actually...
He's a good golfer.
He's a good golfer.
Wow.
His swing's a little funky, but he's solid.
But he's 78 years old, and he's bombing at 70 yards past where I could put it.
No, I mean, he's a great golfer.
Wow.
Like seeing him on the driving range, it's smooth. It just goes like and I'm not the one to like over embellish. Like he was just hitting him down the fairway. Like
just boom, boom, boom.
I'm not sure how Kid Rock plays, but I mean, it was an interesting experience. And honestly, Trump was very kind to my mother. My mother was waiting for him to finish on the hole 3. And she was wearing a Trump hat and all this stuff. And he's like, "Oh, come here. Let's take a picture. Like, how you doing, ma'am?" And
Your mama took a picture with Donald Trump?
My brother did too, yeah.
Son of a biscuit eater.
Again, like when the guy doesn't have like paparazzi around him, he's actually a pretty down to earth guy. Like my mom was actually very nervous in front of him, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And he was just trying to make her at ease, kind of thing. He was very polite to her, and that won me over.
Every person that I have met that's met Donald Trump says the same thing.
Yeah.
That he is as nice of a person that you'll ever want to meet.
Very polite.
That the more up the ladder you go in terms of power and importance, the harder he's going to be on you. Mm-hmm. But if you're just an average Joe, Ken Weaver, Matt Murphy, Jeff Malinoff, he's going to treat you like a king.
My brother had a Trump 45 shirt, but it was a caliber 45, which was like, and he was like, "I like that shirt." So he gave my brother a little credit for my brother is like one of the biggest Trump guys you'll ever meet. So he was basically on cloud 9 being
Is Donald Trump aware that you're a Russian asset?
This was before I worked here.
Oh, okay. So it was before.
So it was before. It was before I got my.
Maybe that was.
It was before I got my.
Maybe Trump made a call to Putin, Ken. I don't know.
Well, no. Again, it was before I got my.
We got this guy. He's at the Troubadour. He's going to be perfect for us. We'll get him in with TN. It'll be great.
It was before Putin assigned me WTN.
By the way, 3217 says they got mad at Weaver because he was blocking the clown mouth. Putt. We got putt jokes. It's 321.
Wow, it's already 20 minutes.
And we've already busted out the putt jokes. Okay. So obviously we're going to get to more serious matters. We're going to talk about there's actually breaking news that I just looked at. What was that?
What'd you see there, brother Murphy?
Dadgummit, I've lost it. I just saw some breaking news that I wanted to share now, and it's out of my head. I'll get it in just a second. I've also got, obviously, the Pam Bondi story where, Donald Trump's team was obviously ready. As this story was breaking yesterday, that Matt Gaetz said, no thanks, I'm out. I'm going to withdraw my name from consideration. There were questions as to whether or not Team Trump was aware of this, and I felt like and said at the time, obviously Team Trump is aware of this. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. Well, if he's aware of it, then why doesn't he have a replacement ready to go? Well, guess what? He had a replacement ready to go. It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. We've got Fri Jay coming up at 4:05 this afternoon. Happy to be with you on the drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We'll let you know what's going on in the trial of Marine veteran Daniel Penny and other top stories at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes, indeed, Ken Weaver. That just breaking that there's some developments in that case. I'm going to talk about that right after the news at 3:35 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and retired General Mark Milley went away. He was warning everyone prior to the election. There was a lot of fast and loose talk using language like fascism, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, Adolf Hitler, Nazi. A lot of fast and loose talk. Have you noticed how quickly the Democrats think that they just get a free pass on all of this? And I suppose perhaps they do. There's no comeuppance, it does not seem. There's no accountability, it does not seem. Oh, Rachel Maddow got a haircut. I mean, not literally, figuratively, in her salary. Did you see that? Yeah, she's not going to be making $30 million anymore a year. She's going to be making $25 million a year. How large of her to take a $5 million per year haircut at MSNBC, a company that is attempting to sell itself, or at least Comcast is attempting to sell it.
Brave and beautiful.
I suppose. I mean, how magnanimous of you. I bet you saved a few millionaires' jobs as a result. Anyway, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and retired General Mark Milley was repeatedly warning prior to the election that President-elect Donald Trump was a, quote, fascist to the core, saying that the U.S. will be unable to withstand his leadership. Well, now he says, we'll be just fine. As many of his harshest critics have done, that would be Trump's critics, Milley joined a cavalcade of individuals saying, it'll be fine. Democracy's bigger than any one president. The Constitution of the United States of America is bigger than any one man. Things that we were screaming from the rooftops all throughout the election process. Things that I'm not playing a game of I told you so, but in the aftermath of the 2020 election, there was a lot of concern from the American citizenry, and rightly so. We know that wasn't fairly contested. And if you did not know prior to this election, tell me where the missing 10 million votes went. When all is said and done, it's a little less than 10 million. I think it's like 9 million. And I've not seen the final totals as of a couple of days ago. But my goodness gracious. Of course, it wasn't fairly contested, and a lot of us were concerned about the future of this country if we cannot have free and fair elections. Well, we went through an election cycle in 2024 where the Republicans got off of their heinies, and they actually did something about the election interference and malfeasance, and we went to the polls, and we monitored the polls, and we made sure that everything was on the up and up for the most part. And we got our fair elections. And all the while, the Democrats were howling about the end of democracy. Well, we'll get into that in a moment. We'll tell you some of the latest on this Daniel Penny story with the news. Ken Weaver's got it on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
3:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Daniel Penny case. The defense has rested in the trial of Marine veteran Daniel Penny, who held Jordan Neely in a chokehold until he died on the New York City subway last year. Penny and others there felt that Neely was being threatening, being violent. Prosecutors are not trying to prove that Penny intentionally tried to kill Neely. Instead, they allege he went too far by holding Neely's neck for about 6 minutes, violating law and human decency, in their words. A judge has reduced the prison sentence for a convicted January 6th Capitol rioter who berated and insulted him. Here's Chuck Severson.
Getting a year cut off his prison sentence, Mark Brew of Washington State, who complained about his prison conditions but refrained from hurling any more insults at Chief Judge James Boasberg, who resentenced him to 5 years behind bars. Brew's a member of the extremist group Proud Boys. He's benefiting from the Supreme Court court ruling limiting a federal obstruction law. Brew previously interrupted Boasberg, called him a clown and a fraud, and one time accused the judge and a prosecutor of human trafficking.
Now the House Oversight Committee is digging deeper into FEMA agents intentionally skipping Trump supporters during hurricane response in Florida. The Daily Wire says Chairman James Comer's demanding more specific information on FEMA's quote-unquote avoidance policies in a letter to Director Deanne Criswell after another whistleblower has come forward about a similar situation in Georgia. Comer wrote the whistleblower told the committee that a FEMA contractor warned a disabled veteran's family in Georgia to remove Trump campaign materials from their home because FEMA supervisors viewed Trump supporters as domestic terrorists. Criswell has until December 6th to respond. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, the slowdown is underway. The slow go home, I like to call it. Right now, you've got eastbound to 40. That is practically bumper to bumper until you get to the Gulch on the South Loop. Then northbound 65 starting to build where you get to the South Loop. Eastbound 24, you've got that brake tapping all the way down to Bell Road. Traffic and, that's every 10 minutes traffic every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Indeed, it's The Drive. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name's Matt Murphy. In until 7 o'clock this evening, we'll hand off to the great one, Mark Levin, at that time. Thank you for being around. First Amendment Freestyle Friday continues. 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN if you'd like to be a part of the show. You can also hit us up on the Super Text line. You can also hit me up on, I'm on most all social media platforms. I won't say all. I just joined Blue Sky because I want to see what those liberals are up to.
Yeah, I joined it today, too.
Did you really?
I did it for news. I got to know what they're doing.
Well, that's right. I mean, if there's going to be news organizations that leave the X machine or what, let me tell you something. Have you ever seen, Ken, you and I haven't talked about this. Have you ever seen anything happen so swiftly as people, I mean, cable news is dying.
Yes.
We hear that Comcast is considering selling off MSNBC. We hear that Elon Musk might be interested, which would be hilarious.
That would be something.
Well, and I believe for the most part, and I understand that, people know what they're going to get when they come here.
Yes.
People understand that when Ken presents the news, he's laying down the headlines, right?
Yes.
He's not putting his thumb on the scale. He's laying down the headlines. He's telling you for better or worse what traffic is problematic. He's telling you for better or worse what news is happening in the city of Nashville, the state of Tennessee, the United States of America, and beyond. When I talk about these stories that Ken often tells you about at the top and bottom of the hour, well, I'm going to offer you my opinion on them. And my opinion is biased, obviously. It is not objective. It is subjective. We don't make any bones about that. But here's the great thing. You get to call me and offer your subjective opinion on these matters, too. It's a community conversation. It's like the community square in electronic form. You know what you are getting, a robust debate. We don't suffer fools gladly, but here's the wonderful thing. Each of our hosts on Super Talk are different.
It's free speech.
It
dude.
is. We are in the free speech business.
Yes.
And what people more and more have found that many of these media networks are doing, they're not only are they putting their thumb on the scale and claiming it's not there, but they're also suppressing other expressions of opinion on their networks, and they're intentionally spiking stories that they don't like. I mean, people just don't care for that. They don't like it. They don't want. I don't mind you delivering the news in somewhat of a subjective way. I never minded. Maybe I'm the weirdo. I never minded MSNBC being MSNBC because we knew what they were doing.
Yes.
There's just not enough people that care to watch their product. I mean, Fox News in the evenings, you know that Sean Hannity's right of center. He's a conservative. And so you know his commentary is going to be there, but he is a fair-minded guy. All of that to say, I'm fascinated with the speed in which we've watched cable news go away and how much that has been replaced with social media platforms. Mm-hmm. Like X, like even this Blue Sky. I don't know a lot about it. I joined it today, like I say.
Have you been kicked off yet?
No. I don't. I'm being quiet. I'm laying low.
I give you a week.
Yeah.
No, I'm laying low. You want
just one thing. They are blocking people so fast.
Are they really?
They are kicking. Like I've seen a lot on X about like I was on there. I posted one thing and they saw my name and didn't like it and just kicked me out. Like they built a wall.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they have kicked me off already.
George Takei likes it. He joined it today.
I bet he does. Oh, look, they got a little butterfly. Wait a minute. Verify your email. What do you mean? I verified my
They're already
email.
after you, Murphy.
Hey, I've already done this.
They're making you jump through a bunch of hoops and
Here
hurdles.
Yeah, they're going to look
go.
at your email and go, huh, this is a conservative email.
Here we
Kicked
go.
out.
See, I'm on Truth Social, too, but I'm like you. I don't say anything on that either.
Oh, I don't post anything on Truth. They give you updates about politics, and I'm like, oh, this is actually good for news.
Well, I'm there for the news.
Yeah, exactly. They
Because
actually give you updates on like Trump stuff, and like
that's where
now
you're going
it's
to
important.
learn. That's where you're going to learn whether or not the president-elect is actually doing what everybo's saying he is doing.
That's where I saw that Matt Gaetz is stepping down from the AG nomination. That's where I saw it first.
I'm a little bit surprised given I guess Trump is invested on Truth Social, right? I mean,
Yes, he has a stake in it.
he has a monetary investment.
It's his deal, isn't it?
I mean, I know. Yeah, I think that's right, Ken. I think it's his
He
deal.
created it.
But since he started talking back on X, it's lost its luster a little bit for sure.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I'm a little bit surprised that they've not tried to sell off Truth Social now that he's buddies with Elon, and
maybe they merge.
They've got their
sense?
thing going. Maybe I don't know. But bottom line is this: I'm on all of those platforms. But if you want to find me where I live and breathe, that's on the X Machine. The X Machine is just an awful place full of awful people saying awful things about everything, and it's also the best place on the planet, in my opinion, for breaking news and information as it happens.
It is.
I remember that the tsunami in Japan. Oh, what was that nuclear
Which
plant?
one?
No, it was the one that overwhelmed the nuclear plant.
I can't remember.
Takajiwa.
Like an 04 or 05? You talking about that one?
Yeah, well, I don't think it was 04 or 05, but yeah.
It was like 2000s, though, right? Was it that decade?
No, see, because I was on Twitter. Twitter was the thing. It was
so this
it's
is like
2011, maybe.
Okay, so I remember there was one big one in the early 2000s, but there's a second one later on.
It overwhelmed the nuclear facility. They had to shut down the nuclear facility. Fukushima. Thank you, Ken Weaver. That's a great grab. So I forget when that. Do you have a date in there, Weaver?
Well, I just clicked on.
No, you closed it out. But that's okay. It's no matter. But so I remember when I realized I was doing morning radio in Birmingham, Alabama, on WAPI 1070 on your AM dial, and I remember when I recognized what a game changer it was. Because it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and we started getting news that there was a major tsunami that had overwhelmed the nuclear plant there in Fukushima, and that there was a danger of nuclear radiation. And at first, they were concerned with like tens of thousands of people being killed. And we, in real time, got on what was then called Twitter. And I found through, you can skip on Twitter. That's what I call it. I don't know what the official term is or if there is one. But if you do a little tweet skipping and you go from one media organization and then you find some links to that and you go to another media organization, eventually you can get to a place where you can find eyewitness accounts. So we found people who were reporting from Japan, eyewitnesses to the event, and I'm sitting in my studio in Birmingham, Alabama, reporting it in real time. And I said, this is a game. Every single human being on the planet with a phone and a Twitter account is now a reporter.
So I have the date. It was March 11th, 2011. And one suspected...
Wait a minute. Stop. Who said 2011? Who said 2011 like 30 seconds ago? Who said that?
You did.
I think I did.
But
I can't believe it. I just can't believe I remembered it. I just
knocked it out of the park.
Right out of my.
One suspected one death. One was suspected from the radiation because they got lung cancer and died 4 years later. Non-fatal injuries were 6 with cancer or leukemia, 16 with physical injuries due to hydrogen explosives, and 2 workers were hospitalized with radiation burns.
It's amazing that more people didn't die from that thing. But Fukushima was the moment that Well, Mickey says I'm wrong, that WTN, Supertalk 99.7 WTN, and Ken Weaver is the best place for breaking news on the planet. I stand corrected, Mickey, and that's not often.
Checks in the mail.
I stand corrected, and that's not often. You can pay him off if you want to, Weaver, but he's right. We are the best place for breaking news. Number 2, I would suggest humbly, is social media. All of that was designed to say this. If you want to follow me on the X Machine, at Matt Murphy Show, I'm on the Instagram, I'm on the Facebook, I'm on the Blue Sky, I'm on the Truth Social. I'm actually on Threads, believe it or not. I don't know why either. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows why Threads is.
I don't even know what I'm so confused what Threads is. Is it like Instagram?
No, it's like Twitter. I mean, it was Blue Sky before Blue Sky.
It's Facebook's version of what Twitter was.
There you go. What Weaver said.
Okay.
And they created it because everyone loves the formatics of the Twitter machine, but everybody hated the fact that Twitter allowed free speech and would allow me to say nasty things about other people.
You know, it's funny. Ever since we posted...
I mean, that's true.
Ever since I snuck onto your Twitter or X and posted follow Jeff Malinoff, I got like 15 new followers.
Well, because they believe that you're an agent of the KGB.
Well, I think they had fun with it. I think they all... I appreciated the people that followed me after finding that I found your Twitter or X open.
Have you lost any of them now that they found that
No.
you're horribly boring over there on the X machine?
mean-
you need to up your X game, KGB.
All right, challenge. I have 170 followers. Let's maybe up that to 200 by the end, guys. At Jeff Malinoff.
You know what I have found, Malinoff, and I know that you're a little bit younger, but I humbly offer this as a piece of advice from Matt Murphy to you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
People hate it when you beg for followers. They just hate it. They just hate it.
I was just saying, I challenge them?
I'm just telling you. You're
You have thousands, okay?
kind of like you're begging. I mean, no,
Not begging.
you know what I would like? I would like 20,000 followers. Don't make me beg. But do I have them? No.
Okay, how many do you have? You're in the thousands.
I have
Yeah,
almost
15.9. You're almost at 16,000.
I'm almost 16,000, and like I'm 12 away from 16,000. But do you hear me begging people to go to x.com and sign up and go to @MattMurphy Show and then click follow? Do you hear me doing that?
Well, I'm not saying they should. Maybe they could, but they could also look at Jeff Malinoff, which is a parentheses. You'll see KGB.
I would
easy
never
to
beg
find.
For followers. I would never beg for followers. Please follow me.
I don't beg. I just say, hey, if you don't mind,
I've got two.
that'd be cool.
My mom and dad.
Weaver, do I follow? Do I even follow?
Ken, I follow Ken. Every time I see him in my feed, it's just like I hate Oklahoma. Oklahoma, what are you doing to me? I hate this team.
I don't do that.
I know, but like it's behind the words, Ken. You got to read behind the words.
I wrote the words.
All right, y'all fight amongst yourselves. I'm looking for him now. I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna find to see if I follow Weaver on the X machine. We're gonna find that. By the way, while we're just having a little fun, I've got four questions presented from the liberal media to Pam Bondi that I'm gonna get to in a moment. I'll give you an update as Ken Weaver just did moments ago on the Daniel Penny trial. There's a pretty big update there, and we'll talk about that and break it down. But here's our final Oklahoma fact of the day. Oklahoma Sooner fact of the day.
Let's hear it.
Or at least mine.
All
you
right.
might have more later.
All right.
Ken, would you dare guess the last time that at this I even feel bad doing this.
Don't do it. Don't feel bad about it, Brother Murphy. I can take it.
Okay. The last time Oklahoma was a double-digit underdog at home.
It would have to be in the 90s.
1997.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when we were very similar to what we are now.
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And y'all are a 13-point. I'm telling you, take Oklahoma in those points, boys. Make yourself a winner this weekend. Alabama minus 13.5. I would take that 13.5 and run with it. I would. I don't know if Oklahoma's got it in it to win this game, but I feel like they're going to get up for Weaves.
Did you know that our defense has scored almost as many touchdowns as our offense? I'm not lying, man. Our defense is awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
Our offense is terrible.
Lock down that Jalen Milroe and see what can happen. I mean, I don't know. A fumble here, an interception there. You never know on any given Saturday.
Well, our quarterback just gives it right back.
Well, there you go. It's 51 after the hour. Coming up, Pam Bondi is now the choice for Attorney General. And frankly, while I understand some of you are stuck on Matt Gaetz, I think we ended up with a better one, don't you? More on that in a moment on Super Talk.
Nashvillians, where a Metro traffic cop got hurt today, say they're not surprised. We've got that and more coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. Appreciate that and appreciate you. We've got much more to come with Fri Jay coming up in the 4 o'clock hour as well. Donald Trump, that is filling out his cabinet fast and furious, at least presenting the nominees before the American people, and the United States Senate will confirm most of them. He has not named a Treasury Secretary as of 2 hours ago. I've not checked it in the last 2 hours, but I feel like I would get those breaking news alerts on my phone.
Brother Murphy.
I mean, so I wonder what the holdup is. I am told, little birdie told me, that there are 2 camps, and one of the camps is interested in Bill Hagerty, and there's another camp within his inner circle that is not. Be a very interesting cascade of events if Bill Hagerty is named as the Treasury Secretary. We'll discuss that. And Pam Bondi coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll also talk to our good friend Jay St. Clair. It's all on the way on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and The Drive. Hang in there.
This is Brian Wilson with the Daily Market Report. A record close on the Dow today, up 426 points. S&P up 20, NASDAQ up 31. Nothing but green on the screens. What's driving all this positive market activity? Let's check in with John Maxon over at Beacon Capital Management.
Yeah, Brian, we had a record day on the market for the Dow. The Dow literally hit a record today. The NASDAQ and, of course, the S&P 500, they had weekly gains. All indexes were up over 1% on the week. And, and an interesting note, you've heard a lot about Bitcoin. Bitcoin almost hit $100,000 level today, which is remarkable. Oil continues to climb, now over $71 a barrel. That's something to keep your eye on with the Russia-Ukraine conflict continuing to bother consumers. Consumer sentiment came out today. It actually slipped a little bit this month, so that's something to watch in the consumer spending economy. But next week, we have things like personal income and personal spending. That's going to give us a gauge on how folks are feeling heading into the economy, which will be a big part of consumer spending, but a really good week on the market this week.
Thank you, John. And to find out what Beacon Capital Management can do to help you get ready for your retirement, just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. A Metro traffic cop is in the hospital after a crash in Donaldson today. Police say Officer Corey West is being treated at Vanderbilt after his police motorcycle was struck from behind by an SUV at the intersection of Elm Hill Pike and McCrory Creek Road. Residents in the area tell Channel 4 they're not surprised.
Because it's as straight as it is, you can go a little faster than you should be. And that we have a 25-mile-an-hour posted speed limit sign on our road here on Colfax. And people do 40, 50, 60 all the time cutting through here.
Now, that 63-year-old SU driver does not have a license and is being charged with a citation. We just learned someone was killed when a train hit a vehicle in Portland today. Happened on Butler Road near Fountainhead Road right around lunchtime. News 2 says the Highway Patrol is investigating that. Daniel Penny update. The defense in the Marine veterans manslaughter trial in New York has rested after 4 days of testimony. Penny did not take the stand, but the last witness testified that Jordan Neely, whom Penny put in a chokehold, had an open bench warrant at the time of his death. Penny grabbed the 30-year-old in the middle of what officials say was a schizophrenic, drug-fueled outburst on a subway car that witnesses said included death threats and had them fearing for their lives. Although Neely still had a pulse when Penny let go, he later died. Penny faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted on the top charge of manslaughter. He also faces a charge of criminally negligent homicide. Prosecutors say he went too far. New York Judge Juan Merchan issued a scheduling order today that delays President-elect Donald Trump's November 26th sentencing date indefinitely for his hush money conviction. The order also gives Trump's legal team the chance to dismiss the charges entirely, something Aaron Katersky says will be a fight with prosecutors.
The way the defense sees it, Trump should be treated as president-elect like a sitting president who can't be involved in any part of the criminal justice system. And prosecutors are saying, wait a second, the jury has spoken. They've already decided he's guilty. This was before he was elected. And so they think that the case should linger.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. So I'm not seeing any crashes right now, but we do have some volume out there. And I mean, it is thick. That east leg going eastbound, the east loop downtown, that is definitely stop and go until you get to 40. You start moving a little faster. But then you've got the 24-40 split, and both eastbound 24 and then westbound 40. Everybody trying to get up to 40 from 440. That is bumper to bumper. South Loop downtown, all the way to the Gulch. That's going to be bumper to bumper right now, too. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is The Drive, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's going on, friends? Hope your day's going well. Hope your afternoon's going well. If you're in your car, hope your drive home's going well. I mean, I'm the one that says I hope it's going well. Ken Weaver and many others, they'll tell you what's going on in the traffic. They'll tell you what's bad. I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm hopeful that you get around it. I hope you get home at some point tonight or at least by in the morning. Anyway, if you have a couple of days off for the weekend, congratulations. Welcome to your weekend. You're close, if not already there. And if you are a weekend warrior, I always like to say thank you to our weekend warriors, those that make our weekend special and possible. I'm talking about firefighters and EMTs, police officers, doctors, nurses. I'm talking about truck drivers. I'm talking about all of those folks that work the restaurants and work the convenience stores. All of you that are working on Saturday and Sunday that make our Saturdays and Sundays special, we thank you. From Matt Murphy to you, from Super Talk to you, we appreciate you. Hope you got big weekend plans and hope you have a good time. And, of course, next week is Thanksgiving week, a very special Monday. I was told about this, and, you know, many radio stations do things like this to raise money for local community charities or even state or national charities, but the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon is certainly something special. I took to it immediately when I got here in Nashville in 2021. Well, I missed 2021, just barely missed 2021. I got on air December 13 of 2021, so I was just after that year's annual tradition. But I caught 2022, and I've been there 2022, 2023. This will be my third Radiothon this coming Monday. It starts with Dan Mandis, Nashville's Morning News, obviously moves through Chris Hand. I will be there. Matt Murphy. Brian Wilson will be in the house. Now, Brian is taking these Mondays and Fridays off leading up to his retirement, but he will be here Monday for his usual drive between 3 and 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And the gang will be all here, and we ask of you throughout the course of the day to dig deep into your wallets and give to those less fortunate, those needy in our community with Nashville Rescue Mission. It's a wonderful organization. We should be proud of it. We should attempt to do everything in our power to put it out of business. And I hope you understand what I'm talking about. I would love for the Nashville Rescue Mission to close their doors because of a lack of business. Sadly, it does not look like that's going to happen anytime soon. And while there are people who are in need, there are wonderful Christian-based organizations like Nashville Rescue Mission there to do the heavy lifting and the hard work to lift people out of their times of despair and get them back to a place of solace and to a place of empowerment. And we're just proud to be a part of it. So that's coming up Monday, and then an abbreviated week next week, as many of us are taking a day or two off for the Thanksgiving holiday. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to be a part of the show. A couple of breaking news items, and we may get into some of these with our man Jay St. Clair. Fri Jay is on the way in mere seconds. So one breaking item number one is that the judge, Juan Merchan, in the Donald Trump New York case has indefinitely postponed the sentencing in said case. Judge Juan Merchan indefinitely postponed that sentencing hearing and President-elect Donald Trump's New York criminal case, which had been planned for next week. Mershon is giving Trump's legal team more than a week to file its motion asking for a dismissal under the argument that his return to office would provide him a new host of immunity-related defense. Trump's lawyers will be required to file by December 2nd, after which Manhattan Attorney General Alvin Bragg will have until December 9th to respond. If Alvin Bragg has any sense, and he does not, but had he any sense, he would dismiss this case and we would be done with this. Trump was convicted on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records relating to the payment of money, a non-disclosure agreement with adult film star Stormy Daniels. That's breaking news item number one. Another one is trial-related or courtroom-related as well. The defense has rested its case in Daniel Penny's New York City manslaughter trial without Mr. Penny taking the stand. After the final witness took the stand and revealed that Jordan Neely had an open bench warrant at the time of his death, Penny, who is a 26-year-old Marine veteran and student of architecture, grabbed the 30-year-old Neely in the middle of an outburst on a subway in which he was threatening to kill people, put him in what was referred to as a chokehold in order to subdue him. And, sad to say that Neely passed out and then eventually died as a result of whatever drugs he had in the system plus the lack of oxygen to his brain. One way or the other, if I were on this jury, there is zero, and I'm just telling you the way that it is. If I were on this jury, there is 0% chance that Daniel Penny ever sees a jail. 0% chance. Because that's not the world that I want to live in. Where you're going to take the Samaritans, the helpers, those that are trying to protect individuals. You're going to take those people and put them on trial? I don't think so. All right, let's talk to our man at 15 after the hour. We do it once a week. We call it Fri Jay. And we're running late. I'm sorry. But we'll get to it. It's your opportunity to ask any legal question on your mind with our man, Jay St. Clair. He is the finest legal mind that I've ever met. He is a good Tennessee man. Grew up in the Sequatchie Valley, and it only took him about 5 years to teach me how to say that. He also graduated from Yale University, and he's my good friend, my life consultant, my lawyer, and my gambling buddy, and his name is Jay St. Clair, and he joins us on the show. Hey, Jay. How's it going? Uh-oh. Hey, Jay. Are you there? Hello, hello, hello. Check 1, 2. Test 1, 2. It was a big buildup. I thought I heard him. I'm going to put him on hold and see what you got there. Might be a little squirrely there over on the other side of things. Oh, we lost him. Okay, well, it was a big buildup. It was pretty solid. We'll try to reconnect with Jay coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In the meantime, I mentioned this case involving Daniel Penny and my feelings on it. It's as simple as this. What type of society do we want to live in? What type of world do we want to live in? I understand that laws are there for a reason and that we have to protect those, even some individuals who don't seem to care about the law at all. But I don't want to live in a world where Daniel Penny goes to jail for anything that he's done. I'll get into more of that in just a moment. I had a great, what a superior, it was one of my finer buildups, and sadly we had a little phone snafu, but I think we've got our man, Jay St. Clair, back, which gives me another opportunity to ask him a question. Jay, are you there? Well, isn't that just odd? It might. Hey, Jay? Hello? Hello? I don't think you can hear me. What do you got? Huh? I know I don't have it. Line 7. Well, I can't drop line 7. I've tried all of those things. All right, we're working out these phone difficulties. I think there's something going on with line 7, which has been on the fritz for about 52 minutes now. We'll figure it out and we'll get to it. On Super Talk 99.7 WTN. No worries. We'll get to Fri Jay coming up in mere moments. Daniel Penny, I'm certain that for those of you following the news, you perhaps have followed this case. It is a travesty of justice, in my opinion, that the case was even brought. I understand that a bad thing happened to a guy. I wouldn't want that to happen to someone. I understand that Jordan Neely was out of his mind. I understand that he had a bench warrant for his arrest. I understand that he was on drugs. I understand that he was schizophrenic. I understand that there were drugs in his system. I understand all of those things. And none of those merit his death, or none of those warrant a death sentence. No one is suggesting that. Only the most ridiculous commentators offering their opinions on this case. What I would suggest is that I want to live in a world where individuals feel empowered, not compelled, empowered to act in a manner that they believe consistent with their own self-defense or the defense of others. Oh, as a matter of fact, I would suggest that we need more lions, not less. More lions to protect the sheep. And I don't call people sheep in a manner that, I'm not suggesting that they are lesser than. What I am suggesting is that we need to be the first line of defense for those who perhaps are being threatened in some fashion. The bottom line is this. The police can't be everywhere at every moment. Are we going to feel empowered to do something about it or not? There are far too many instances, and I've seen it all. Oh, I think we got line 7 cleaned off. There are far too many instances, and we see it regularly on social media nowadays, where people are acting the fool in social settings, on a bus in a major city, at a bus stop in a major city, in an airport, on an airplane, in other social settings, restaurants and the like, where people are absolutely losing their minds and no one does anything about it. Why? Well, we don't want to get caught up in it. I understand that that's human nature. But secondarily, you are concerned that if you do get caught up in it and something negative happens, that you're going to get blamed for some of that negativity. And this is exactly what happened to Daniel Neely, or rather Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny felt compelled to protect not only himself, but every single person on that subway car. And good for him. We should be applauding him. We should give him a medal, not a jail time, not a jail sentence. That is my take on it. We'll get Jay St. Clair's take on it in just a moment. Tell you what, we'll take a short time out. I think we've got those phone issues cleaned up. It is 4:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Bullets fly between two cars in Antioch. We'll tell you about it coming up at 4:30. Got the closing money news then, too, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. It is 4:25 right now, almost 4:26. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, in for Brian Wilson on The Drive. We'll be here until 7 o'clock this evening, and hope you're able to spend every single moment with us. 615-737-9986. I focus on that as a super text number, because if you have any questions for our next guest, we invite you to text those in. I'm going to reset here. I think we got our phone lines fixed. So here's the deal. He is my best friend, a Tennessee man from the Sequatchie Valley in this great state. He went to law school up in the north in Yale, and I can say it louder if you need me to. He is also my life consultant, my gambling buddy, and my golfing partner. It's Jason Clair, everybody! There we go. That's now we got it ready. Now we got it going. Hey, Jay. Or maybe we don't. Hello. Hello, hello. Check 1, 2. I was so cocksure that we had it going.
So was I.
Hey, Jay.
Can
Hey,
you hear me?
Jay. What is going on? We got it figured out, man.
You got me, Matt?
I got you, Jay. You got me? You got me? Okay, this is just not happening today. I don't know what's going on. Hey, pick him up and see if he can hear you in there, and then we'll figure it out.
No, he can't. We've been talking back and forth.
Why don't you do it again then? Because I want to make sure before I go back to him and see what's up. And if you've got him, then I've got him, and then we'll figure it out. And then KGB's in there ruining things. Who knows what's happening? Okay, we got the thumbs up, so I'm going to try it one more time. I'm not going to do the big build up again. I will ask him the question. Hey, Jay, you there? Huh. It's just odd that he can't hear me. I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, Jay, you there? Huh. I can hear him.
Hear me now?
Oh, boy, oh, boy. Well, oh, well. Hold on a sec. Hey, Jay.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, Jay. Hey,
Yeah.
Jay. Hey, Jay!
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Oh, look.
Can you hear me now?
KGB, a.k.a. Jeff Malinov, just issued a sigh of relief as if it was his fault the entire time. How about that?
I thought it was a Verizon commercial.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Jay,
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Hey, buddy. Yes, sir.
How's it going?
You know, if I was any better, I at least am not Jay Leno.
I'm
not Jay Leno.
Have you heard the phrase Leno truthers?
No, but I immediately understand what it means.
So,
and you know what Jeff doesn't know is I've got balance issues. Had balance issues for a long time, and so I can totally see how somebody would roll down a 60-foot hill. But not that close to a casino.
Well.
Isn't that? That's what the truthers are saying, right? Is the enforcers came at me.
That's what they're saying. Well, all I've heard on the truthers is that they do not believe that he rolled down a 60-foot hill, and that's how he got all of his injuries. Because apparently, after it happened, he had a reservation at an Italian restaurant, and he kept the reservation.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, he was staying at the Hampton Inn.
Was he? He was not. Was he really?
Yes, that's his story. That is his story. He was staying at a Hampton Inn, and he wanted to stay away from people, so he went out the back door and didn't know there was a 60-foot hill there.
You've got me and Ken Weaver rolling, Jay. I didn't realize that the Hampton Inn was a part of the story.
Well, every millionaire you know stays at the Hampton Inn.
Well,
That's why they're millionaires.
Well, I maybe so, but you know the story was with Leno, and he swears it's true. At least this was a few years ago that I read this, that he didn't spend any of his Tonight Show money. He saved all that money. And that he lived on his nightclub money. He lived on the money that he made doing stand-up. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but he sure has a lot of cars for it just to be from stand-up.
No, he does. Now, there's a lot about Jay Leno I like, but I'm sure glad I'm not him right now.
He looks beat up. After dinner, he picked up an eye patch. He said he bought his eye patch at the CVS.
And a bottle of ibuprofen.
I don't know why that tickled.
And he got some Huracron too, right?
Oh, yeah. He said, I broke my wrist, lost my nail on my finger. I'm all black and blue from 60 feet of hitting rocks.
Ow.
And some conspiracy. Well, I mean, he's going to be all right, I think. But
you know the house you lived in down here. You remember that big hill you had behind there? Every time I'd go by there, I'd say, "Man, how many times you fall down this hill?"
I'm going to put Jay. I'm putting Jay on. I'm telling this story when we come back after Kid Weaver's newscast because Jay did do that. I lived in a fill lot, and there was a pretty big drop, about a 30-foot drop down a hill. And every time Jay looked at that hill, he looked at me and said, "How many times have you fallen down that hill?" And I was like, "Jay, none." He goes, "No, I don't believe that." We've got Ken Weaver's news. We got more St. Clair. If you've got any legal questions for Jay, and I'm going to ask him functionally what it will look like if we really do, quote, crack down on illegal immigration. How does that work legally? We're going to find out together on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Antioch, Metro Police investigating after people in two cars started shooting at each other on Bell Road. Lots of people called 911 to report lots of shots were fired. Investigation underway after a driver was hit by a train in Springfield today. This is Butler Road near Fountainhead Road. And in Murfreesboro, a loaded gun found in a student's car at Rockville High School. That student was expelled immediately. Here in Nashville, a Metro Police traffic cop rushed to the hospital after an SUV hit the back of his motorcycle. Officer Corey West hit near Elm Hill Pike and McCrory Creek Road. Wendy Adams lives right down the road, tells Channel 4 drivers need to pay more attention with this area rapidly growing.
It's always the infrastructure stuff, like roads, that doesn't get addressed. They just keep building and building and building and expanding. And Nashville's a nice city to want to be in. I get it. But it comes at a cost to those of us who've been here for a long time.
Yeah, police say Officer West will be okay. The 63-year-old man driving the SUV was cited for not having a license. NDOT says last year they painted more lines and put up more signs and reflectors to try to make Elm Hill Pike safer. But they say people still need to slow down. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we got a crash, 440 eastbound, right there at 65. Police on the scene. Nolensville Pike at Welch Road. That is backing up quite a bit. In addition to that one crash there on 440, it is slow go all the way over to 24. And looks like northbound 65. You've got stop and go up to the South Loop downtown. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 4:38. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's Friday's going well. Try to get you home in the proper fashion, educate you on some things going on in the news, maybe entertain you, maybe a laugh or two, and certainly get your legal questions answered through our Fri Jay visit with Jay St. Clair, our good friend and gambling buddy. And a lot of you already commenting on offering some questions for Jay, and we'll get to those coming up in just a moment. Jay, I went down a rabbit hole during our break there with the news. Most people are of the opinion that Jay Leno owed somebody money. That's what they think. But also simultaneously in the same story, they said that Jay Leno was worth a reported $400 million.
Yeah, that's what doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I know Charles Barkley tried to stiff some people in Vegas a while back.
Right.
And they didn't beat him up. I mean, you don't beat up a guy that's got $400 million. You just go take his house.
Well, or if you're somebody like Jay Leno or Charles Barkley, you publicly shame them, right?
Or you just sue them.
Yeah, leak it to the press and shame them for doing what they're doing. But it's bad. I didn't realize he got to the hill. He got to the bottom of the hill. He went to the restaurant. He ordered chicken parmesan and ate his chicken parmesan, and then went to the CVS and apparently did a comedy show later on that night. So
then went back to the Hampton Inn.
I mean, because that's what multi-billion-dollar television stars do. They sleep at the Hampton Inn. Jay, I was interested, and you and I kind of talked a little bit back and forth on this subject, and I'm just curious, now that Donald Trump's president-elect, and he's starting to name some of his cabinet members, and he's starting to name some individuals in key positions, like Tom Homan is going to be his quote-unquote border czar, and they use those words. And I think he's got Kristi Noem selected as his pick for Secretary of Homeland Security. And so we're getting these things filled out. And there's a lot of conversation from Homan, particularly in his interviews with the mainstream media, about, getting these illegal aliens out of here, that we're going to have, quote unquote, mass deportation. I hate the phrase mass deportation. I understand why the media uses it because you're doing, it's like mass incarceration to me, if you know what I mean. I mean, there's really no such thing as mass incarceration, but if we're doing it wholesale in broad strokes, then people are going to characterize it like that. But I just am interested what your thoughts from a legal perspective are on how all of this is going to happen.
I've been thinking about it, man, and here's the analogy that I would use. Right? First time around, Trump said, we're going to build the wall and make Mexico pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Remember that? That was the cash line.
Mm-hmm.
They built some wall, but not a lot. And that was his number one priority. I think that this mass deportation thing will go about the same. I think they will increase the numbers of people that are being deported, but I do not think they'll get 10 million people. I just don't think the system can handle that because everyone that's being deported is entitled to a hearing. And to have a hearing, you have to have a judge. And you have to have witnesses and so forth. It's like a little mini trial. And you know how slow the legal system works. And so here's the way it works. First of all, they got to catch somebody, right? I mean, they got to catch them. And then they have to set it up for a hearing, and they have to have a judge to have the hearing. And then they have the hearing, and the judge has to reach a decision. Well, that's just one person, man. And you've seen how long it takes in the legal system to adjudicate just one case. Well, imagine adjudicating 1 million cases. So it's not going to be quick, but they can certainly increase the rate that's happening under the Biden administration. But I just don't see any way possible that they could deport 10 million people even over a 4-year period. Getting to 1 million people would be aggressive. I mean, that's just the reality.
It feels to me, and this is kind of a blend of your area of expertise, which is the law, and mine, which is more political in nature. But it feels to me like they believe, just as it happened when Donald Trump was taking office, and he was talking about building the wall. And you saw a lot of individuals that were preparing to try to come illegally into the United States of America. According to the numbers, they stopped. The number of catches went down because people weren't trying as much because they felt like it was an exercise in futility. And I feel like some of this talk, particularly before he gets into office, is like, listen, the sheriff's coming to town. And all of this is going to stop. So if you're here illegally, and especially if you're here illegally and you've committed crimes, you better get your butt out of here because we're going to catch you.
No, that's brilliant. I hadn't thought about that as clearly as you just said it, but I think that's exactly right. They're just trying to dissuade people from coming because, well, I mean, let's face it, the welcome mat has been out for 4 years.
That's right.
Come on in. We have money and phones and expensive hotels waiting for you.
Yeah, and here's what you say when you get here to make sure that you can stay until you, quote unquote, get your hearing, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And so that's a very good point, and because there's two pieces to this, and we've talked about this. So what you're saying is stop the leak. And you said this very well many years ago. If your house is flooding, I mean, you just got water pouring in. Well, what's the first thing you do? We got to cut the water off.
Right. You don't grab the mop and start mopping. Yeah, right. That's right.
Right. You got to stop the leak first. And so, yeah, I think that's a very clever way to stop the leak. I also think enforcement along the border will pick up. We are not going to deport 10 million people over the next 4 years. I mean, it's just it's physically, that's not the right word. It's administratively impossible. But the rate will pick up, and some people may leave on their own.
Well, and that's I think the second component to the leak, right? I mean, you've had this leaking, and we're talking about humans, and they're here for a reason, and even those that aren't here to do bad things. I mean, plenty of these people are here to try to take advantage of the greatest country on God's green earth. And
I was just going to say that. They want to live in the greatest country that's ever existed in the history of the world.
Right. Right. So, I mean, the idea then is to pull the welcome mat out from under those ne'er-do-wells and then manage the rest as best we can through the legal process, which, I mean, and the reason I thought it's so important for you to kind of help us navigate through this is I think a lot of people feel like this is going to be wholesale, and I just don't believe that reality is going to happen the way that some people are imagining it.
No, again, I think the analogy to the wall is a really, really good analogy, right? Because Trump said, we're going to build the wall. Well, he was president of the United States, man. And I don't think they got 10% of the wall built. And I think that's probably about what will happen here. If there's 12 million now, then 10% is 1.2 million. That's probably a pretty good estimate of what they will realistically be able to do. But here's the thing, and this is what I love about it. And is it Holman or what's the guy?
Yeah, Tom Homan. Tom Homan.
I call him Rambo. He's making it very clear. He said, but here's the deal, folks. It's going to be 1.2 million criminals. And not just because they crossed the border illegally. We're going after the bad guys first. And if you get 1.2 million of the violent criminals out, then that's a big lick.
No question. No question. And I think if you the great Phil Valentine used to call it demagnetizing the United States. Is there a way to encourage businesses? We already have systems in place by which they shouldn't be hiring illegal aliens, but we know that happens. We know that there are loopholes and there's ways around it, right? Is there a way to incentivize a more robust monitoring of the hiring of people so as to prioritize American citizens first and then figure out if we are in need of a workforce beyond the American citizen? Does that make sense?
No, it does. And I think what you're saying, and I agree with this, and Lion Bucks agrees with it. A lot of people, I bet you Trump agrees with it. One of the solutions is to have more legal immigration, to make that more legal. This is a story recently. I've forgotten the woman's name. She was the swimmer at Kentucky that's been a leading voice in the transgender thing. You know the woman I'm talking
Oh, I know. Riley Gaines.
Riley Gaines.
Yeah.
Her husband is an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
Has been trying for years to get green card, and he hasn't gotten it yet. Now, the State Department may be messing with him because of who she is, but it's very hard to immigrate legally. I've got some clients. One of my companies, Spencer's company, is French owned, and so a lot of French come over, and of course, they all want to do it legally. It's a slow, cumbersome process. And so, yes, I think that's part of it, Matt, is making legal immigration quicker and simpler.
Well,
And also
and
disincentivizing the reason to come over illegally.
right. Well, and part of her, just as a side note, because Riley lives right north of us in Gallatin, the Gallatin Goodlettsville area, and I've had her on the show in the past, and she has stated that part of her husband's issue is that he has not gotten the COVID-19 vaccination, and that for some reason in 2020, I mean, it just seems. I laughed when I say it because it just seems odd that in 2024 they have not rescinded that requirement for individuals on their applications for legal status, a green card status, is that you have to be quote unquote vaccinated, and he's not. But hey, Jay, hold on. Just
after January 20, that may be a little bit different.
I bet you that's the case. I'm going to make Jay hold over for one more. I think we've got a minute or two that we can get into a couple of your questions on Super Talk 99.7 WTN with Fri Jay in progress on the drive on Super Talk. What a wonderful organization Men of Valor is. Men of Valor helps individuals in crisis in our prison systems. Let me give you a couple of statistics. Over 90% of the men who are currently in prison will eventually be getting out. That's right. You heard me correctly. 9 out of every 10. What type of men do you want getting out? Sadly, left unchecked and undiscipled too. 50% of those men will return to prison within 3 years, and that's just way, way too high. Did you know that Men of Valor has less than a 10% recidivism rate when individuals graduate from their program? What an incredible statistic. It's because of the glory and power of God and his people. But they need you as an assistant. They need volunteers in their prisons, at their campus for aftercare reentry. They need you for Bible study teachers or job partners or mentors to disciple men in their everyday lives. Will you be that partner? Go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com to find out more about this wonderful organization that is Men of Valor.
Another E. coli recall, and the odor from hundreds of bodies piled up at a nursing home, actually at a funeral home, is what tipped off authorities. We'll tell you where and why coming up at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. I have implored, I have begged, and we have found a positive response to the question, can you stay another segment? Because we lost Jay for the first segment of this hour, so we're going to carry him over to answer a few of your questions coming up in the next hour of The Drive with no Brian Wilson, Matt Murphy, and for Brian Wilson today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So much to the delight of many of you who love Jay, he'll be here for one more segment. Now, I want to answer a couple of these things in the minute that I have before we get to the top of the hour newscast, because I just want to calm you down, because a lot of you are freaking out on the super text line and in other places and responding to what you don't like to hear regarding what the law says in terms of illegal aliens in the United States of America. This idea, this concept of, and I'm not telling you this because I like it. I don't think Jay, and I don't mean to speak for him, but I don't believe Jay St. Clair is telling you this because he likes it or approves of it or disapproves of it. It is what it is. That in the American system of law, if you make an application for asylum, the law says that you get a hearing for said asylum. And upon threat of deportation, you also go before a judge before being deported. So you have to do those singularly. The point is this, that there are so many that have gotten in here. That was the entire point of flooding the zone, the way the Democrats flooded the zone in the manner that they did. There are obviously things that you can do that will create an atmosphere of self-deportation if you don't provide them an adequate avenue for a job, for example. You've got to get those people who have not put down roots to self-deport more than you're going to see deportation on the legal side of things. I'm not saying I like it that way. I'm just trying to temper your expectations as to what's going to happen come January 20th, because you're not going to see cattle car style deportation out of this country into their places of residence or their countries of origin. I'm just tempering your I'm not saying I don't like it or do like it. I'm just telling you the reality of the situation that we find ourselves in. That's what we get from 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. All right, Jay's coming back. He'll answer some of your questions in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has issued a silver alert on behalf of a 64-year-old man, Gerardo Biori. He was last seen November 15th in the area of Brick Church Pike in Nashville. He is 5'7" tall, 150 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes. He is black. He has a medical condition that may impair the ability to return safely without assistance. If you see this person, call the Metro Nashville Police Department or 1-800-TBI-FIND. Federal regulators recalling 167,000 pounds of fresh and frozen beef over possible E. coli contamination. At least 15 cases of illness have been reported in Minnesota and traced back to a packing company in Michigan. Here's Alex Perez.
Authorities believe all of this impacted ground beef originated in Detroit at the Wolverine Packing Company, but they're, of course, taking a closer look at ground beef everywhere. Just to be careful here, this company shipped to restaurants across the country, so right now there's still a lot of work being done to investigate where exactly this ground beef may be at.
By the way, that deadly multi-state Boar's Head deli meat listeria outbreak's officially been declared over by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. That final update issued yesterday with the agency saying a total of 61 people across 19 states became ill in the outbreak, resulting in 60 hospitalizations and 10 deaths. Investigations and several lawsuits are still underway. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Still got that crash, 440 eastbound at I-65. Police on the scene there, and we are still slow go on that eastbound East Loop downtown. Boy, it is really bumper to bumper if you're eastbound 24 after the 40 split, and if you are eastbound 40 after coming off of 440. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Just getting to the 5 o'clock hour. Thank you for being with us on The Drive. My name is Matt Murphy, and for Brian Wilson. Of course, Brian off on these Mondays and Fridays, although Brian will be here this coming Monday for our Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon, so be sure to tune in for that. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Appreciate you. Hope your drive is going well. I mean, if you're out and about in Nashville traffic, I know that it is a grind right now, especially on these Fridays in the 5 o'clock hour. So just be patient as you possibly can, and we'll try to get you home with the best attitude and maybe fill you with a little bit of knowledge and information as well. Our good man, Jay St. Clair, is with us, and we've extended our St. Clair time, our Fri Jay time together because we had a little phone issue right at the beginning of the 4 o'clock hour, and I do appreciate Jay being willing to do so because so many of you have calls of concern or questions, and I'm getting them on the super text line as well. So we continue here. Jay, I just want to reset something because I just want to make sure, because let me tell you something. Our conversation about the legal process with regard to deportation has gotten a lot of reaction.
Well, that's why I suggested that topic, man.
Well, let me tell you, people aren't happy. They aren't happy about any of it. They're very angry. And they are desperate to figure out a way that you are wrong about all of this. And I have learned over the years that is a lot of times that is a fool's errand when it comes to the law. Look, I just want to reset and make sure that people understand. And I don't need to speak for you, Jay. You speak for yourself. But we are not telling you things that we want to happen. Jay's not telling you anything that he wants to happen. He's just walking through the legal process of how things have to happen according to immigration law. Am I saying that right, Jay?
Many, many times in my practice of law, Matt, I have to look a client in the eye and say, I don't make the law. I'm just telling you what the law is.
Right.
It's my job to be honest with you and to help you set your expectations correctly. And so that's all I'm doing. I'm just being as honest as I can be about what I know about this area of the law. And I thought the way you said it was exactly right. This talk about mass deportations and so forth it's almost like, well, I don't want to use the Nazi example, but that's the one that's in my head, right? Where you just round people up and put them on trains and take them off. No, that is not what is going to happen. This is going to happen one person at a time in front of a judge. They're absolutely entitled to him. And it's not only people that are here for asylum. It's really anybody that's here illegally. They can't just go pick somebody up, drive it to the border, and drop them off. Everybody has to go through it.
Well, and it's a complex process, and one of the reasons that it was so frustrating seeing the Biden administration, in my opinion, flaunt the law as it existed was because you knew, and they knew, and it's the reason they did it. They knew that once the folks got in here and intertwined and intertangled into the fabric of America, how difficult it was to untangle those that are here illegally versus legally, and then what the process would be. That's part of the reason that the Biden administration was doing it in this way for their own purposes.
Well, it's kind of like when the illegal votes get in the ballot box. You can't do anything about it, man.
Yeah.
Because you don't know which one's legal and which one's illegal. So you're exactly right. It's kind of like marriage, man.
Uh-oh.
It's real easy to get into it and real hard to get out of it.
Yes. My understanding is not that tough. Just bring your check. Just bring your checkbook.
You like that analogy?
That's pretty good. So, I think Sandra is a good illustration of the frustration. And listen, I understand it's a frustrating process. And look, I think, self-deportation is something, and stopping the flood is something. All of these things are aspects of this, and obviously focusing, as Tom Homan has said, on the criminal elements is the way to go. I agree. Focus on those worst of the worst first, because he recognizes that it's going to take a while. But Sandra writes and says, well, if they can expedite them in, they can expedite them out. And I wrote back to Sandra, and I want you to reflect on this, Jay. I said, well, they broke the law to expedite them in. Do you want us to break the law too? And I just don't think that we want that. I think we want the rule of law. in this country. That's what I want, at least.
Right, but Sandra picks really good words. That words are my tools, and so I pay attention to that a lot. Expedite, Sandra, is an excellent word. And it takes 10 seconds to enter this country illegally. 10 seconds. That's all it takes to get across the Rio Grande. You cannot legally expel that person from the country in 10 seconds, but you expedite it from what's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it in an hour, but you may be able to do it in a week. It will be expedited. That's a terrific word, Sandra. But you have to understand that doesn't mean it's going to happen in 10 seconds or even a week. And I just don't want people to be disappointed when March 2025 comes around and we've not deported 1 million people. That's just not going to happen. But the numbers will go up. It will be expedited, but just not as quickly. Well, it takes 10 seconds to rob a bank.
Mm-hmm.
Or it takes 10 seconds to murder somebody. It takes 10 seconds. But we can't put them to death in 10 seconds. That's just not how our legal system works.
Well, I mean, I think
I talked about this man a while back, and this is important to hear. One of the bedrocks of our legal system, this is a bedrock belief that it is better for 100 criminals to go free than one innocent man to be convicted.
It's funny. I brought that up that you and I have talked about it forever, and you're the first one to talk to me about the genesis of that concept from old Mother England, right?
Right.
And I get Blackstone's, and that basic philosophy of the judicial system, that it is better for. And I brought that up yesterday with this Illinois Supreme Court ruling on the Jussie Smollett case. Because I said, look, I don't think Jussie Smollett is a good human being. I think that he obviously fabricated this situation, and I think it's a bad deal. But sadly, a crooked DA entered into an arrangement with him that it should never have happened. In other words, the law is what the law is, and if a court rules that he's being tried twice for the same thing that he settled on the first time around, well, you can't do that.
Sandra, I want to speak to Sandra again because I thought her comments were very insightful and very smart. I like her use of expedited. If we were in Saudi Arabia, I think this is a really good example. If somebody is caught stealing in Saudi Arabia, I think within 24 hours they cut their hands off.
Wow.
Now that's expedited. We could do that here. We could. But we've just decided as a nation not to do that. I tell my clients a lot when they get faced with things that are just really kind of unfair, frivolous lawsuits and so forth, I say to them, if we were in China, you wouldn't have this. If we were in Russia, you wouldn't have this. If we were in North Korea, you wouldn't have this. We've chosen a different system of justice in this country, and it is that the courthouse door is open to everybody. And it's not perfect, and it's frustrating. I mean, my word, man, I've been doing it for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I look, I look a lot older than I really am, man. It's a frustrating system, Sandra, but I will say this, and I say this from the bottom of my heart. Well, I think it was Churchill that said this, that their form of government is the worst form of government that exists, except for all the others.
Except for all the rest, yeah. Well, look, I don't want people to be disillusioned. I don't want them to lose spirit over their desire to see the law followed. But I also don't want to deal in non-reality. I don't want to deal in fantasy.
Well, there's this great Andy Griffith show when Thelma Lou's cousin is coming to town. It is a great episode. And they set her up with Gomer. And Gomer keeps saying, well, tell me about her. And all they would say is, oh, she's nice. right? She's nice. And then he meets her, and she's as homely as she can be, right? And but then they leave and have a great time. But Andy, leading up to that, he kept saying, "Gone, just don't overexpect. Just don't overexpect." And so that's all I'm saying here is gone. Just don't overexpect. It's going to get better. It will be expedited, Sandra, over what it is now. But we will not deport 1 million people in the first month or the first 6 months. Now, maybe in a year, but it's not going to be Saudi Arabia.
That's well said. That's well said. Jay, I'm going to leave it there. I think the bar is open, my friend, so we're going to leave you to it. But you know how much I appreciate your time with us, and a lot of people on hold. I apologize to those we weren't able to get to. We'll get to more legal questions. Listen,
you know who's my drinking buddy tonight?
Your Secretary of Homeland Security?
Jay Leno.
Well, watch out. Watch out for those mobsters coming after their gambling money, Jay.
No, I'm just not going to get near that hill or just front of my
Look, I know for a fact as your official gambling buddy that you're too tight to get into gambling debt. I've seen it.
If I lose a lot of money at the craps table, it'll be $200.
That's exactly right. That's why we roll good together, Jay. I appreciate you, brother. Have a great weekend.
Love you, man.
All right, take care. There's Jay St. Clair, and I apologize. A lot of you want to talk about this issue, and we will delve into it. Look, I think Jay said it exactly right at the end. And I'm not here to pour cold water on what you think may or may not happen. Nobody's rounding people up. We have to process these individuals through the American system of justice. And if we want to change that, we can change. There are ways to get around it. Don't get me wrong. There are ways to shut down the honeypot and shut down the magnet that has been at the southern border over the years of the Biden administration. And all of those things can happen with a snap of a finger and will on January 20th. Don't get me wrong. I mean, all of this nonsense about allowing for asylum and all of that, that's going to stop. Donald Trump, if I were to use this analogy with you, I hope that it makes sense. I've used it for years. Jay made reference to it. That if you come home and you go into your kitchen and there is water just pouring out of your sink, I mean, it's coming out of that little that squirter hose, and it's coming out of the faucet, and it's coming out of both nozzles. I mean, it's just pouring into your kitchen. And you've got 3 inches of water on the floor of your kitchen, and it's just pouring out of the sink. What are you going to do first? Are you going to stop the flood of water, or are you going to go grab a mop and start cleaning it up? Well, of course you're going to stop the flood first. That part is relatively clean and easy for Donald Trump. But the mess that has been made with the Biden administration, because we believe in human dignity, and I understand that people are frustrated as hell over all of this. I get you. But you don't want to live in places that do it that way. Do you? Do you? I mean, maybe you do. Does that not mean that we can turn this ship around? We can turn this ship around, and you can utilize our ability to demagnetize through business and incentivize business and punish businesses that are knowingly hiring illegal aliens. All of those things are possible. It will be possible for me to get to Bonnie and Tony and Terry and Grant in a moment as we continue the drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The odor of hundreds of bodies piled up in a funeral home is what tipped off authorities in Colorado. We'll tell you about it at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what's called a professional news tease. From Ken Weaver to you on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You had me at hundreds of bodies. It's 20. I mean, you did. It's 26 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right. A lot of you are upset, frustrated, angry, whatever, about the conversation that we've been having for the better part of an hour. Look, I understand that it's a frustrating situation. Don't get mad at the messenger here. You're just not going to turn this ship of state around overnight. I wish for it. I long for it. I hope for it. But it is what it is. In the meantime, a lot of you want to comment on it, and we'll give you an opportunity starting with Bonnie. Hello, Bonnie. Thank you for calling.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I am sitting here at a Mexican restaurant in Murfreesboro, and I've had 2 White Russians, and I feel very nice. And I am getting ticked off at you because you had me on hold for about 45 minutes. And I wanted to ask the attorney a question.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry, Bonnie. Well, I know who he is, and I know his telephone number, and I can pass it along, or I can.
I thought he was there. I thought he was there. We want to ask him a question.
Well, ask me the question, and I'll pass. Just for the general edification of the audience, can you just pose the question out there? We lost Jay.
Yes, I can be indiscreet.
Okay.
My sister had this attorney out with Rocky McElhaney's office, and one of the attorneys out of that office dropped her, and her cutoff date was, of course, today is my birthday. Yay!
Oh, Bonnie.
Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
Way to go.
Thank you.
All right.
So 2 days of
Hey, tell one of your amigo friends over there to put a White Russian on my tab for you, Bonnie. Would you do that?
Yeah, but how can they do that?
Well, I mean,
you'll pay for it.
Oh, they know me over there.
The one next to the.
Oh yeah, next to the car wash. Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's next to the Veterans Hospital.
Oh, that one. Yeah. They know me over there too. Tell them to put it on Murphy's tab.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, I mean, you're not even going to give it a go.
Okay, look.
All right.
So anyways, he dropped her, and her cutoff date was 2 days ago.
Uh-oh.
So she can't sue.
Uh-oh.
So anybody that wants to be with that attorney, forget it.
So I would, because I know my friend Jay, I've known him for 20 years, Bonnie. I'm confident that he would want to attempt to help you. And so,
oh, really?
Well, at very least, offer you a little bit of advice. So, what I would recommend you do? Do you have a way to write something down over there?
No, I don't have a pen.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to put you on hold, Bonnie.
Hold on there. Hey, ma'am.
Uh-oh, we're good. Ask about the White Russians when you're doing. Hey, Bonnie, I'm going to put. This is what I'm putting her on hold. I put Bonnie on hold. Pick up on Bonnie and this is your job, KGB. You got to do this. Pick up on Bonnie and tell her I'm going to get her Jay's contact information during the break so that we don't have to bog down the show with it. So just pick her up right now off air and say, Bonnie, we're getting his contact information for you, and we're going to give it to you in a second. Okay? All right. Very good. All right. I'll tell you what. Let's go to the news with Ken Weaver. Kathy and Terry and Grant will get to your conversation starters about deportation coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7. WTN.
It is 5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. The owners of a funeral home near Colorado Springs who allegedly piled up bodies and didn't process them for burial or cremation have pleaded guilty to state charges. Here's Alex Stone.
John and Carrie Holford allegedly piled 190 bodies up in a room temperature building and gave grieving relatives fake ashes while using their customers' money to live extravagant lifestyles. They ran Return to Nature Funeral Home and gave families dry concrete in place of human remains. The Holfords on Friday pleaded guilty to state charges. Last month, they pleaded guilty to federal counts. Both are in custody. The two have been charged with over 200 counts of corpse abuse, theft, forgery, and money laundering.
Yeah, this case came to light when police got calls of a bad smell coming from the funeral home. Reports say there will be no decision today on Sean Diddy Combs' latest $50 million bail request, but there could be one by Thanksgiving. The feds and defense have until noon Monday to submit to the judge how Combs has been communicating from behind bars since his arrest 2 months ago on sex trafficking charges. Combs is offering to cover a $50 million bond, wear an ankle monitor, stay off the internet, stay at home of one of his homes in New York City or Miami under the surveillance of a private security agency, and pre-clear any contact with family members through the government. Texas education officials have approved the inclusion of religious stories in public school curricula. Here's Jim Ryan.
The vote by the Texas State Board of Education followed days of debate and refinements from the publishers of a teaching package called Bluebonnet. Critics say the materials refer to Christian Bible stories at the exclusion of other religions. The state school board, which has drifted to the right in recent years, has approved the curriculum for kindergarten through fifth grade starting in the 2025-26 school year.
That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we're still seeing the brake tapping, especially if you're eastbound 24. Once you get past that 40 split east of town, then eastbound 440, still slow go over to 24 and then up to 40. And same goes for that south loop downtown. Eastbound is still bumper to bumper into the Gulch. Looking over here in Rutherford County, I'm not sure what's going on, but westbound 24 is extremely backed up there in Smyrna and Laverne. And then north of downtown, trying to get home to Goodlettsville, Hendersonville area, Madison, that is all bumper to bumper and stop and go on 65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest is the number one choice in Middle Tennessee for all pest control purposes. They're also great Americans, and they love this United States of America. Bonnie. I said Bonnie. I meant Erica and J.K. Brister are great people at U.S. Pest, and they run a great company that can help control the pest population in your home, and it's so important, especially during the winter months. Let's talk about this now. Full-service pest control over the course of the winter. They offer termite protection year-round, 100% money-back guarantee, crawl space services as well. A lot of people discontinue their pest service in the winter months, and it's a mistake because these pests will get inside of your home, and you lose that barrier of protection to keep them out if you lose your service. Don't do this. Get with U.S. Pest. USPest.com. That's USPest.com or 590-1260. 590-1260 for our friends at U.S. Pest. Oh, yeah, it is 5:38. Good afternoon. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you until 7 o'clock. We're on the drive. No Brian Wilson today. Brian's back on Monday. He'll be here for the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon happening all day long on Monday, and then a suspended week for all of us. I'll be in this position on Wednesday from 3 until 7, and then the entire team off Thursday and Friday to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday. We certainly give thanks for you. Well, I say the entire team.
I'm working.
In terms of my team, in terms of my intimate core team.
Oh.
Like, Team Murphy Weaver.
Bell. No.
Team Bell.
Yeah.
Are you working?
I'm going to be here Thanksgiving and Black Friday.
You want a plate?
If you want to bring me one, sure.
No. I don't want to bring you one. I'm just asking if you want to.
There's some in
just
the
what's
cabinets.
on the plate? Is it just a plate?
Yeah, there's
just a paper plate.
Weaver's got it.
Well, there's one in the sink right now. It's got some coffee grounds in it.
Please, sir, may I have some more?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, at least the dishwasher's working again because we got it fixed yesterday. So that's good news.
Oh, good. I get dishwasher water for Thanksgiving.
Look, I can find somebody that's kinder than me that can bring you some food up here.
I know. I'll order Cracker Barrel to go to pick up after work.
Oh,
paying
those dues there, Malinov.
Yeah.
You can't be a super secret agent Russian asset without starting somewhere.
Putin can't afford me a turkey dinner. One.
I don't even know. Do they? I don't think they do Thanksgiving in Russia.
I don't care. He can. He knows where to get turkey.
Yeah. Just suffice it to say that most of us will be off on Thanksgiving and the Friday after Thanksgiving. KGB wants to let everyone know that not all of us are off that day, but I hope you are, and I hope you're spending some time with family and friends. Hey, real quick, and I first got this from the man himself, Brian Wilson, who reported this to me, and I've since seen it on a couple of different sites. But per Wilson, it seems that Bill Hagerty is out as a possibility for Treasury Secretary. The several reports have Scott Bessent, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know. I've never heard it.
I never have either.
Bessent or Bessent, Bessent, per Fox. And I'm also seeing that the Washington Post is reporting that as well. So
everybody is, except for Trump.
Well, better watch out. They were right on Rubio, though. They got Rubio a couple of days in advance.
He's saying, "Hey, Melania, watch this."
Yeah, watch this. They're gonna think it's Bessent. Then I'm gonna say it's Haggerty. Wouldn't you love it? My Trump's just getting worse. Anyway. So there's that breaking news coming out just moments ago. And thank you to Brian Wilson for the tip on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Discussing the immigration issue, including deportation. A lot of you are thinking about this as we discussed it with Jay St. Clair. And Kathy's next up in Madison. Kathy, thank you for your patience. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for calling.
So I just want to say to the people that are frustrated about what you and Jay were talking about is I just want to say this. You guys are right. They're not going to be able to deport 10 million people overnight. But what they can do is deport the ones that matter. The criminals and people like that, people like the Lake and Riley killer and people like that. Those are the ones they're going to start with. And getting those out will be a huge step. And the rest of them, we can take them as we get them.
No, I think you're exactly right, Kathy. Obviously, because of the nature of our laws and because of our system of justice, it's going to take a little bit longer than it did for them to get here. But you are exactly right, and I tried to reiterate it. I've lost my camera again. For some reason, we can't get that to hold on. I've tried to reiterate it on a couple of occasions that that just because we report what we think is going to happen doesn't mean what I want it to happen necessarily. But the fact of the matter is it's just going to take a little bit longer to get those that we don't want here out of here than it did for them to get here.
Yeah. Well, when you've been going 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction,
well, that's right.
It's gonna take a while to get back where you started.
That's very, very well said, Miss Kathy. Very well said. But I do appreciate the call, and I thank you for joining us today on the drive.
All right, thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you. I'm trying to do a little technical repair while are we back up and running there, KGB? You got it on the television side of things.
Yeah, you look good. I had a full room picture of you as you were trying to set that up because I didn't want people to get motion sickness.
I don't know what's going on. I keep if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you just saw the entire room tump over. So my apologies for that. While I was talking with Kathy, I got a little distracted because my entire camera system just went blop. And I don't know what's been going on in this room, but apparently something negative. Terry is next up. Hey, Terry, how are you?
Hey, Matt, how you doing, brother?
I'm great, Terry.
Hey, thank you for you, yourself, and Jay, and for what you guys do. But I have a very specific question for Jay, probably. My daughter is married to a Hispanic guy. He's been in the country for, I guess, 10 years, and he works like a lot of Hispanics do in the restaurant industry, you know, cooking and serving, whatever. And my daughter, she's got a degree in nursing, but she decided not to use it, so she decided to go hairdressing instead, but oh well. But anyway, she's scared to death of him getting deported. They've been married 6 years, and this may be a question for Jay, I don't know. But they've been married 6 years or better, and she's worried that I heard that he's got to go to Mexico and try to get back in again. So she's worried about her having to leave here and go to Mexico with them.
Yeah, I mean,
They're worried to death.
I mean, Terry, I understand, and it is a technical question that I can't answer for you here. What I can tell you is if you'll hit me up, Matt at murphyshow.com, I can give you Jay's information. He's very, very good about getting back to our listening audience. He's so gracious with his time, and I think he could probably get you an answer or get you to somebody that could.
All right.
Matt at murphyshow.com is the way to go there. It is 45 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. One more on the issue of deportation, and then we'll move on to Pam Bondi in just a moment. She's the new AG selection. Hey, Grant, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm great, Grant. Thank you. Hey, pardon me for just a second. Hey, where are you calling from? Your mic's on. Go ahead, Grant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my question is, have the laws changed in deportation since Obama was president? Because he deported more illegals than any other president in history. He deported over 3 million. And he wasn't just taking criminal factions. I lived in Nevada at the time, and I saw him the INS come to a job site and round them all up from the job site. They were getting them from McDonald's, Arby's, you know. He's the one that built the cages down at the border that Trump got blamed for. You know, so how can he deport 3 million that easy? If the laws changed now, it's harder to deport them now than it was when he was president?
No, I disagree that Obama deported that many illegal aliens, but I don't want to bog down in that. There are certainly there are ways to deport individuals. But what they have learned to do since 2014, 2015, 2016, and now is that they have learned that if they claim they are from certain countries and they claim asylum, that America has asylum laws that give them an opportunity to demonstrate that they deserve asylum into the United States of America. So these individuals have learned to do that, and en masse, that's what they are doing. They are applying for asylum status. They're not just busting in here illegally. Now, many of them are, don't get me wrong. And for those that did not declare asylum status, it is easier to put them on a track back to their countries of origin. What's more difficult is to process them through the asylum claim process right now as it exists in law. Now, we can check. Look, there's nothing to say that we can't change the law. What I'm trying to do is temper expectations that there's going to be mass roundup of individuals that are then put in mass transportation units and taken back to their countries of origin. One, we don't know where those countries are necessarily. So you have to prove where these people are from, because we can't just dump them into Mexico if they're not Mexican, right? So there are ways to crack this, and we're gonna solve it. My entire point was to walk through the legal process so people did not believe. I do not believe that there will be any sort of, quote, mass deportation, because that's not the way we do things in American justice. We take them on a
No, I don't believe that either.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we can get it done, and certainly toward the end of his administration, Barack Obama recognizing that the flood of illegal immigration was actually causing his political party wins at the ballot box, especially in 2014 in the midterms. They recognized that they needed to do something about it leading into 2016, as Barack Obama was saying so long on the national stage. You're right about that.
Right. Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, Matt, and you have a good evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Grant. I appreciate you as well. Look, the bottom line is this. We're getting the ship moving back in the right direction already. And a lot of this can be stopped simply by taking a tougher stand on it and declaring to the criminal elements that have come here illegally that you better get your butts, your asses out of this country before we find you, because if we find you, you're going to feel the heavy hand of American justice and the law, especially if you have broken additional laws. By that, I mean laws in addition to coming into the country illegally. So nobody's taking a soft on illegal immigration approach on this show, or really on this radio station from my listening. I mean, I think all of us agree in following the law, but that goes both ways. That's my only point. There are laws as well, and it's as frustrating as can be, but the laws in some way encumber the expedition of this process, to use a phrase that Sandra used earlier. It is 10 minutes until 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pam Bondi might be a much better selection for Attorney General than Matt Gaetz. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and say I like this pick better than the Matt Gaetz pick. And the liberals already don't like it, which is good news, but there's not a lot that they can say about it considering her level of expertise in this arena. She was, after all, Attorney General for the state of Florida for the better part of 8 years. But there are some concerns from liberals. I will give you the most ridiculous of those concerns coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I know how to pronounce the last name of the person President-elect Trump may be tapping to be Treasury Secretary. I'll tell you about it at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's another professional.
We don't deserve Ken.
I know. We don't. We really don't. But I'm going to be listening because I need to know how to pronounce it if he's going to be the Treasury Secretary. And so because Ken knows, I need to know. And we'll find out together coming up in a couple of minutes on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 4 liberal questions for Pam Bondi. This is pretty good. So, obviously, you know, Matt Gaetz didn't work out for Donald Trump in his selection as Attorney General, a nomination or nominee. And Donald Trump seemed very ready, and it was clear, given that it happened the same day, that Donald Trump was aware that Gaetz was about to withdraw his name. Pam Bondi, who is friends with Susie Wiles, the soon-to-be chief of staff, who is obviously friendly with the Trump administration, who proved her support by representing him during one of his impeachment trials, by attending his New York criminal trial, by campaigning with him. She has now been tapped to be the Attorney General. Critics have focused on 4 subjects that they say senators need to ask her about when she goes before her confirmation hearing. I'll tell you what those subjects are, and you will get a kick out of them. Plus, more of your calls coming up right after Ken Weaver's newscast, and that's coming up right after this on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes, and rampant reports that President-elect Donald Trump has asked Scott Bessent, a top fundraiser to his campaign, to serve as Secretary of the Treasury Department. This, according to NBC News, who says they have two sources familiar with the matter. However, I have checked Truth Social, and the president-elect has said nothing about it. But again, everyone's reporting this. After thefts targeting unsuspecting bank customers in recent months, law enforcement officials say two Venezuelan nationals have been arrested in a multi-city ATM skimming case spanning Missouri and Kansas. Both are facing first-degree property damage and stealing. Here's Michelle Franzen.
Authorities in Missouri and Kansas say the string of ATM skimming thefts targeted at least 45 victims, with the two Venezuelan nationals police say bilking customers out of nearly $6,700. Richmond, Missouri Police Chief Scott Bagley tells KMBC-TV the men were arrested in Kirkwood and brought back to face felony charges.
They were involved in an incident in Edwardsville where they had actually physically caught them putting the skimmer on the ATM terminal.
Bagley says anyone entering the U.S. should be held accountable like anyone else.
Sean Diddy Combs remains in jail after a bail hearing today, at which his lawyers proposed 24-hour home confinement conditions. The federal judge said he'd have a decision in the coming week. Prosecutors say he can't be trusted. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. A Metro traffic cop is hospitalized at Vanderbilt after a crash in Donaldson. Metro police say Officer Corey West was on his motorcycle and was hit from behind by an SUV at the intersection of Elm Hill Pike and McCrory Creek Road today. Residents in the area tell Channel 4 they're not surprised.
Because it's as straight as it is, you can go a little faster than you should be. And that we have a 25-mile-an-hour posted speed limit sign on our road here on Colfax, and people do 40, 50, 60 all the time cutting through here.
Yeah, the 63-year-old SUV driver, that is, did not have a license, and he was cited for it. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Dealing with a couple of crashes here, 65 northbound, just south of Harding Place. You've got the right two lanes blocked. That is reported by TDOT. And then in Rutherford County, 24 westbound, the left two lanes blocked by a crash there at Laverne. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
No Brian Wilson today. Matt Murphy in for Brian until 7 o'clock tonight. Thank you for being with us. Ken Weaver's over in the News Closet B. We've got KGB, a.k.a. Jeff Malinoff, behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible, and we appreciate him for that work, and you as well. Thank you for being a part of the loyal team. We appreciate you, whether you be in your car, in your home, or at your place of business. I appreciate you listening to The Drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Quick programming note, don't forget about Mondays, well, not just our show, all of our shows. It is a big day on Monday. It is our annual Radiothon, a day of giving for Nashville Rescue Mission. We're very excited about it. It is a wonderful opportunity to speak to those less fortunate. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to dig deep as you can possibly and give thanks for those blessings that you have in your life by giving to others that do not have those blessings through the Nashville Rescue Mission, a wonderful organization, a Christ-based organization. We're so proud to be a part of this day of giving. It's happening all day Monday, I should say, starting at 5 a.m. with Dan Mandis, Chris Hand from 9 until noon, Matt Murphy, yours truly, will be here from noon until 3, and Brian Wilson from 3 until 7 o'clock. I think all the gang, we did this last year, I think we're doing it again, where the entire gang gets together in the 6 o'clock hour. And obviously the rest of the team will be assisting as they can, from home base here, whether it's the news folks, Joan and Ken in the newsroom. And then, of course, there'll be plenty of people over at the mission itself, broadcasting all day long. It's a day of giving on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I wonder if any of you have concerns about Pam Bondi as a selection for Attorney General. I've heard one line of criticism against her from the political right, and it has to do with her stint as Attorney General in the state of Florida, and perhaps more specifically, her position on bump stock laws and her position on red flag laws. Outside of that, I can see no criticism from the political right or from conservative media regarding this selection. Frankly, there comes a point where, or would have come a point, and I'm on record as saying that I would not have pulled my nomination if I were Matt Gaetz now. Maybe he sees the writing on the wall. Maybe he got a sense from the United States Senate that there was zero chance that he was moving forward as Attorney General nominee. Matt Gaetz, by the way, today has said that he has no intention of going back into the House of Representatives, that his resignation stands as of today, and we've no reason not to believe him. But it also became clear after he visited senators on Capitol Hill that he would not be the next Attorney General either. And before withdrawing his name, I have every assurance by people inside of the Trump administration, and I have a couple of sources, not a lot, not as many as some, but I have a couple of sources from individuals on the campaign team that will eventually transition into Team Trump 47, that Matt Gaetz made it clear to the President of the United States, or the soon-to-be President of the United States, once and future President of the United States, that he was going to withdraw his name, giving the President a heads up. Pam Bondi is now Donald Trump's choice to lead the Justice Department. And while I've only heard criticism regarding, some nipping around the Second Amendment edges in the state of Florida, there are some that are saying that they don't really have true constitutional carry, and she was fine with that. There are some that are saying that she did not robustly push back against red flag laws in the state of Florida like she should have. There are some that are saying that she was a fan of bump stock bans, a ban that eventually got overturned, by the way, by the United States Supreme Court. But I don't see a lot of criticism considering her amount of time within the prosecutor's office in the state of Florida. She spent years as a prosecutor in the Sunshine State, which is difficult to say, I just realized. Spending 18 years as a prosecutor in the Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office before being elected in 2010 as Florida's first female Attorney General. Hey, if you believe the rumors on the internet, she'll be the first female Attorney General of the United States of America, right? I mean, I've seen the websites about Janet Reno. Don't tell me she was the first female attorney general. That's a joke. Oh, I feel like Dan Mandis. I told everybody I was telling a joke. Dan does that all the time. I give him hell about it. That's a joke. You can laugh now. No? That's what he does.
I know, but it's just
That's
mean.
funny.
It's
not mean. I love
okay.
Dan.
Well, I gotta be nice to him because he gave me a job. Can't exactly.
I don't think technically that's true. I think
he's the one that hired me.
But I understand that you feel an obligation, but you don't have to be.
Well,
at some point that obligation expires.
I got to read.
When
the contract expires, that's
now
when
that I think about it, KGB, him hiring you. I mean, he hires you, and then suddenly he's not program director anymore. What happened there, KGB? You know what happened there? Dan Mandis got tired of dealing with people like you and me. That's what happened there. But anyway.
Putin had a little to do with it.
Putin.
Yeah.
So Pam Bondi, critics, according to the USA Today, and this is pretty funny, according to USA Today, critics have focused on at least 4 subjects for senators to question Florida's former attorney general about when she is going through her confirmation process. So understand what we're reading here. This is a comedy bit from USA Today. This is the very liberal USA Today, a Gannett publication, telling us what conservative and, moderate, middle-of-the-road Republican senators need to question Pam Bondi on when she sits before Congress in her confirmation hearing. Now, I won't bore you with this laborious multi-paragraph section where USA Today goes through, Pam Bondi is a longtime supporter of Trump. She's a Trump loyalist. This is my favorite aspect of the mainstream media now that Trump has won re-election. How dare he select a loyalist to his cabinet? Well, who's he supposed to select? People that disagree with him? People that hate him? Donald Trump selected a longtime loyalist. Well, like that's some sort of bad thing. Like that's nefarious. That's bad. He's picked a loyalist. Well, what is he supposed to pick?
Joy Reid. That's the perfect choice.
Apparently, that's right.
It's like you picking a producer that hates your guts. It makes no sense. Why would you hurt your show? Just like how Trump, why would he hurt his own cabinet by getting someone that hates him?
Makes no sense. But she's a loyalist, a longtime supporter of Trump. She served on his opioid and drug abuse commission during his first term. Trump praised her as a former prosecutor for nearly 20 years and a former state attorney general who could overhaul the federal government. But USA Today has some big-time questions that they demand get asked during her confirmation hearing. Number 1, Pam Bondi declined to join a lawsuit against Trump University in 2013. Okay. This is number 1 on their list of things that she must be asked about. Bondi, who served as Florida's attorney general from 2011 to 2019, received a $25,000 contribution to her reelection campaign in 2013 from the Donald J. Trump Foundation. A month later, Bondi announced that Florida would not join other states suing Trump for fraud over Trump University's marketing of real estate seminars. So, if they ask Pam Bondi about this issue, would Pam Bondi's response not be, I did not believe that it would be an appropriate expenditure of money, taxpayer dollars in the state of Florida to go after this lawsuit? But they say that's number 1 on everyone's list. Number 2, Bondi helped Trump question the 2020 election results. Bondi appeared at a news conference outside of the Pennsylvania Convention Center on November 4th, 2020, with the president's son, Eric Trump, and then campaign lawyer Rudy Giuliani. They all complained about how the ballots were being counted in the swing state. Bondi said that Trump had won the state despite President Joe Biden's victory there that year. She criticized a barrier being erected and said it prevented observers from seeing how ballots were being counted. By the way, she's absolutely 100% correct in that analysis. That's exactly what happened. Representative Adam Schiff said she should be questioned about denying the 2020 election results. No. Nobody denied that the results happened. What we questioned were how the votes were counted. See, this is the big lie that they're still telling in 2024, even after Donald Trump won his reelection, even after Donald Trump won the popular vote. And part of the reason that he did win was because we saw through this nonsense. You're an election denier. You're an election. No. All I do is I analyze things that happen in 2020, and I break them down in such a way that people can easily understand and consume them. And if you don't know by now, then look at the popular vote that Joe Biden received in 2020, and look at the popular vote that Kamala Harris received in 2024, and you tell me what happened. You lost 9 million votes nationwide. Meantime, everybody was calling this dude Hitler. They said it was the last presidential election in history if he gets elected, that you've got to vote like your life depends on it because it does, that he's going to come into your home and turn a woman's life into the handmaid's tale. All of these things were being declared at us at a rapid-fire pace, and yet you lost 9 million votes. Anyway, so yes, I questioned some of the aspects of the 2020 election cycle because I thought that some of the aspects of the 2020 election cycle were shady. Next. This is the best they've got. So this is USA Today demanding answers from Pam Bondi. Number 3, Pam Bondi lobbied Qatar and their embassy while a partner at Ballard Partners in 2018 and 2019. The State Department has a strong relationship with Qatar, a country it says plays a constructive financial, political, and military role in partnership with the United States of America. Pam Bondi lobbied Qatar and needs to be questioned on it. Okay. And then finally, Bondi asked to delay an execution for a campaign event. This is my favorite one. This is all they've got. Then Governor Rick Scott, who's now a United States Senator and who will be voting on Bondi's confirmation, said that she persuaded him to postpone an execution of Marshall Lee Gore. The reason that Bondi wanted to postpone the execution is because she wanted to attend a 2013 fundraiser. Bondi later acknowledged that perhaps she should not have requested the delay to avoid the night of her campaign kickoff. Quote, as a prosecutor, there's nothing more important than seeing justice done, especially when it comes to the act of murder. I personally put 2 people on death row, and as Attorney General have participated in 8 executions since I took office, a role I take very seriously, she said. Gore had been convicted of killing 2 women in Miami 25 years earlier. By all accounts, Gore is dead now. So, execution successful, if not delayed. If that's all you got on Pam Bondi's going to be your next Attorney General. Liberals. 615-737-9986. Does Kevin want to talk about my hair? Let's find out together next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
President-elect Donald Trump confirming his nomination to be the next Treasury Secretary in his administration. We'll tell you about it at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. 26 minutes after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Cruising through our Friday evening. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are getting home safe and sound, wherever you might be, in your homes, your automobiles, your places of business, or otherwise. Thank you for listening to The Drive. Matt Murphy in for Brian Wilson, and we got about 30 more minutes to go. Kevin wants to talk about hair. I mean, it's that wild a time where I'll take any callers and any comers. Hey, Kevin, how's it going?
It's great, Matt. I am with you exactly at the time when you said you were going to do your locks for Trump. And I decided to do the exact same thing.
Love it.
I messaged you a few times about it, but yeah, I'm in the same boat, and I thought like maybe we should do maybe a mullet or something like that.
Oh, I'm doing a mullet.
I thought
Trust
that would
me.
be cool.
I'm rocking. I got a little party going on in the front and the back, but there's a mullet going on. Yeah. I mean, Weaver, what do you think? Mullet?
That looks like a mullet to me.
It was waving pretty good in the wind when we were playing golf.
Yeah, golf mullet. You like that?
There was a pretty good golf mullet there.
Yeah. Was it waving? Was it? Hey, hold on just a second, Kevin. Hey, KGB.
Yeah.
Was it waving when I made that 50-foot par putt?
Okay, I didn't look. I was just
it
like.
Waving then?
For the record, he did make a pretty long putt. It was pretty darn impressive.
I think it was about 40 or 50 feet.
It was a long putt. I can't exactly tell the distance. At least 30. I'll give you at least 30.
Sure, thank you, KGB.
And then
was it waving though? Was the hair waving?
No, the wind wasn't there then.
Okay.
I noticed it on 17. Your mullet parted.
Kevin, how's that mullet rolling for you, buddy?
Well, no, I haven't cut it yet. So like I'm in the same boat as you. So like I have been holding on, and I've been waiting till like when you do your cut.
Well, I have it. I was told today by one of our illustrious sales weasels here at Cumulus Nashville, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I say that with love. I love all the salespeople.
Sure.
That we might have a sponsor of an event coming up near Inauguration Day that might be willing to sponsor or to put on a haircutting for all of you out there, Kevin, you included, who have been growing it out. It is not set in stone yet, but listen for more information, because I was told today by one of our fine salespeople that they have a particular barbershop that they've been talking to about a Trump haircut event around Inauguration Day.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah.
I'm the same days as you are.
265. Love it.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right,
and
Kevin.
I love your show.
Well, thank you.
And I really appreciate you, and I love everything you do.
Well, you're kind, man. I appreciate it. Keep that hair out of your mouth while you're sleeping. Sometimes it can get tangled up in there. I understand how that goes after 265 days. And I'll keep you up to date. Yeah, that is real, and that came down to me today, that we might have something coming up in the new year, right around the new year, that would be something of an event where you could come out. If you've been growing yours out, you want to get it trimmed up or whatever, we can have a hair-cutting event with Super Talk 99.7 WTN in honor of Donald Trump. You know, shape that stuff up for Trump's inauguration. I kind of like it. We've got news right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and it's a free-for-all until 7 o'clock on this First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and President-elect Trump is nominating Scott Bessent, a top fundraiser to his campaign, to serve as Secretary of the Treasury Department. 62-year-old Bessent is the founder of hedge fund Key Square Capital Management after having worked on and off for the Soros Fund Management since 1991. Now, if confirmed by the Senate, he would be the nation's first openly gay Treasury Secretary, and reports say he's got a husband, too. In a third attempt to get their client out, Sean Diddy Combs' legal team pitched several reasons why a judge should let the music mogul out of jail on bail while he awaits his sex trafficking trial, offering a lockdown and a private security guard outside of Manhattan apartment, along with visits from his attorney and his immediate family only. Judge Arun Subramanian plans to announce a decision before they break for the Thanksgiving recess. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Wall Street finished the week ahead with major indexes showing gains for a fifth day in a row. The S&P 500 was up 426 points, 950 for the week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average climbing 21 points, and the Nasdaq gained 31. Retailers showed some of the day's biggest gains. Gap shares soared after quarterly reports beat analysts' estimates. EchoStar fell after DirecTV called off its purchase of the company's Dish network. Bitcoin set a new high as it approaches $100,000. The cryptocurrency has been breaking records almost daily since the presidential election. The Justice Department announced an indictment against oil company Phillips 66 for alleged violations of the Clean Water Act. The Texas-based company is accused of discharging industrial wastewater containing excessive amounts of oil and grease in California. A company spokesperson says they are cooperating.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next time. Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, looking over here in Wilson County, we've got a crash reported by the Highway Patrol. It's going to be on Highway 109 just south of Timber Trail Drive. Then in Brentwood, a crash 65 southbound right after Old Hickory Boulevard. Got a car on fire on 840 eastbound in Williamson County. And that just disappeared in front of my eyes before I could tell you where it's at on 840. Good luck. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I was just wishing Ken Weaver good luck in the traffic.
I'm laughing because I looked up, you were there, and I looked down to launch back into the show, and I looked up, and you were gone, and I was like, oh,
I left.
There's no one on the camera.
No, I left. I saw Weaver walking down the hallway after his final newscast and his final traffic report, and he's headed to the hizzy house, as they say, as the kids say. That's what the kids say, right?
Never.
They call it the his house?
I can't do that to people. We never said that.
By the way, 15 more minutes to go. 615-737-9986. I'm tired of talking about politics. I don't know if anybody else is or not, although I have a few matters that I need to finish up with. But if you want to overcome those matters and get in here, now's the time to do it. Unless you're Bonnie. Bonnie keeps just a Bonnie update. You got like an update, like a breaking news theme or a Bonnie update in there?
Oh, I got. Let's see if this works.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. Well, there we go. A Bonnie breaking news update on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So Bonnie called earlier. Bonnie, if you're still listening to the show, here's advice from Cousin Matt. Please find yourself an Uber or a Lyft or some sort of ride-sharing home. Please, because we don't need you driving. See if that's Bonnie on the line.
Okay, you know the funny? Can I just say the funniest part is the breaking news? Last time we used that when Trump got shot, and now we're using it for Bonnie.
No, we've used it since then. No. Yeah, plenty of times. But Bonnie has called back on multiple occasions. She is, I think she's a little deeper than two white Russians in, and Bonnie says that she wants us to wish her a happy birthday. So there you go. Anyway, so I was congratulating Ken Weaver. If you missed it was the best traffic report. He had the newscast where he properly pronounced Besant's name, and then he had the traffic report. And while Ken was doing the traffic, and I absolutely love, we do not deserve Ken Weaver. We do not deserve Ken Weaver. He is so good at what he does. And he is a delight to be around. He is a better human being than he is a newsman, and he's the best newsman out there. But Ken
we got Bonnie back.
Ken said, "Yeah." I can read.
I don't trust that.
I can read it. I see it.
It took you a while to add up your score on call, for the record.
Well, I mean, as I recall, it was 5 better than yours.
You beat me by 5 strokes. Big deal. One game ain't gonna.
Neither of us played worth bragging. I'll tell you that.
This is true.
Neither of us played worth.
It was freezing in our defense.
In our defense, it was freezing cold, and in my defense, I'd never played the golf course before. And in my defense, I think on occasion you were telling me to hit it the wrong way. But whatever.
I never said that. That is fake news. Fake news. Excuse me. Fake news.
Okay, maybe a little fake news. Anyway, so Ken on his, if you missed it, his traffic report, he had his screen up, and we do these things. I mean, this is real radio, folks. I mean, we're not faking this thing like some of these stations. And so once again, Ken Weaver, better human being than newsman, and he's the best newsman out there, says, well, you got a little problem on 840, and my computer just went down. So yeah, that problem was on 840, and so if you're on 840, well, good luck.
Like I said before, we do not deserve that, man.
It's so good. It's like, look, I wish I could tell you. I'm not going to make it up. I'm not going to lie to you, and good luck to you if you're on 840.
God bless that man.
Good stuff. I love it. Let's talk to Lewis or Louie, depending on, I don't know how many we're in. Hey, Lewis, how are you?
Yes, sir. Fine. How about yourself?
I'm great, Lewis. What's going on in your world?
Yes, sir. I want to know if you heard about the free condos that they're giving out to the homeless at Shelby and South 4th across the river from the stadium. You heard about that?
Free condos.
Yes, sir.
For the homeless?
Yes, sir. $1 million condos. I've been inside of them.
And they're just giving them away?
Yes, sir. There's no, you have to work, no, nothing. They're just giving them out. There's no light bills, no bills at all.
This is what I have. You ready? This is from June, but I think this might be. Is it called the Strobel House?
No, sir. I'm not sure what the condo's actually called, but it's right off of Shelby and South 4th, the high-rise condo they just built.
Yeah, I know the ones you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Right on Shelby, yeah.
Yes, sir. And I've been in them. There's no, like you have to work, you have to take drug tests. They're just free. Huh. They are $1 million condos, man. I've been in them, and I was like, how do I get one of these? And I know people living there, and they have nothing inside of them, but stainless steel appliances, bottom load washing and dry. They're $1 million condos, man. They're just giving away through the Samaritan, I think. Yes, sir.
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm looking something up here on Shelby Nash. I'm trying to see if I can't find is it Shelby House?
I'm actually not sure the name. I'm sorry.
I'm not either. You know what I'm going to do though? I'm going to try to find. Yeah, there was a story out of well, let me try to find out more information, Lewis. This is good stuff. Because I've seen those going up. Those are right across the street from what is commonly referred to as Section 8 housing. And we were told that these would be, quote unquote, affordable housing options. This might, Shelby House, which claims, now this might be something different. This is in East Nashville, so I think, and it's on Shelby Avenue. Shelby House, blocks away from Nissan Stadium, offers easy access to We Go bus routes into downtown Nashville. Opened their doors several weeks ago, offering Holiday Ventures and Evergreen Real Estate celebrated the grand opening of East Nashville's Shelby House, a 195-unit apartment complex with rents affordable to people making 30 to 80% of Nashville's area median income, which equates to about $21,000 to $55,000 for a single person. The Shelby House, blocks away from Nissan Stadium, offers, I mentioned, access to bus routes, features a new building for Samaritan Recovery Community, a longtime landowner of the parcels now occupied by Shelby House and soon to be occupied by 4th and Shelby. Holiday Ventures said the partnership between Samaritan Recovery Community and developers was crucial to making the project come to fruition, since land prices are so steep in the downtown area. Funding came in part from the Metro Development and Housing Agency, which administered project-based vouchers in partnership with HUD, gap financing from the Office of Homeless Services, and the agency's payment in lieu of taxes program. So it seems like the basic spirit of what you're saying is correct. The units inside Shelby House look similar to new market rate housing across Nashville. Granite countertops in the kitchen and bathroom, stainless steel appliances, in-unit laundry machines, walk-in closets. The apartment building also boasts a fitness center, resident lounges, and covered garage parking. Metro Council person Clay Capp, who represents the area, said the creativity and collaboration needed to get the project done was commendable. 140 apartments are being developed, will include 52 units affordable to residents making less than 80% of Nashville's median income. Okay, so in this story, which was dated October 30th from the Tennessee, and that's where I was reading from, Lewis, I do not have what the price point is on these units, but I would expect that it would be much like government housing is, or Section 8 housing as it's commonly referred to, which is low income based on the amount of money being made. I do not know if there's any rental requirement or if there's any job requirement, but I'll find out. But that is certainly government assistance housing at that location that you were discussing. Sharon is next in the borough. Hey, Sharon, how are you?
Hey, Matt. Love your show.
Thank
You're
you.
awesome.
You're very sweet.
So I wanted to talk about the caller, Bonnie.
Ooh.
If she's calling in on her birthday while she's out partying for her birthday, I would take that as a huge compliment.
I think it is. Is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You want to talk with her?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
She's on the line. You can say happy birthday to her.
She's still on the line?
Yeah, hold on. Well, she just called back. Hold on, Sharon. I'm going to put you on hold. Hey, Bonnie.
Yes,
Hey,
I'm here.
Bonnie, Sharon wanted to say happy birthday to you.
I have to turn it down.
Happy birthday, Bonnie.
No, I have to turn it down. I'm on the radio, Pat.
Bonnie.
How many white Russians?
Bonnie, turn it down. Sharon wants to say happy birthday.
I'm on the phone. I'm on the radio. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Happy birthday, Bonnie.
Okay, all right. Bonnie, hang on.
Dad, I just get all tore up. And
Bonnie, I put Bonnie.
Stop for a few minutes.
Sharon, I put Bonnie back on hold.
You're losing the show.
But yes, because I'm fast losing the show. But I just wanted you a chance to say happy birthday to her. Yeah, she called us back. I think Bonnie's like.
That's a big compliment.
I know.
If I was out partying for my birthday, I wouldn't be listening to your radio show.
Well, I don't blame you.
She's got a point.
You got a great point. All right, Sharon.
Okay, there you go.
All right. Love you. Thank you for calling. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. And Bonnie, are you still there?
Yes.
Are you?
I'm here.
Everybody
I'm
want.
all here.
Listen, we love you, and I appreciate you listening to us on your birthday. Everyone wants. I need an answer to 2 questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you going to be safe getting home tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm with a friend.
Okay. I'm just making sure we worry about you.
Well, but I could lie and tell you to pick me up when you get off from work.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll send KGB, a.k.a. Jeff Malinoff, to do that. How about that, Bonnie?
Oh, I'd want Matt Murphy.
Well.
Oh, thank God.
But thankfully, you've got a dependable ride there, Bonnie. That's good news.
Yes, I'm near Murfreesboro.
Number two, and this is a personal question, Bonnie. You ready?
Yes.
How are the White Russians at the Mexican joint? Because I wouldn't think to order a White Russian at a Mexican place.
Well, I'll put it this way: when you swallow, you holler, and everything is great.
Well, that just sounds wonderful. That sounds wonderful. Y'all have fun. Happy birthday, Bonnie. Thank you for calling me back.
How many White Russians do you think she just had? I'm guessing 6.
Nah, I bet she was on 4.
That's 4?
Yeah, Bonnie.
That's
lightweight Bonnie. We'll
lightweight.
Call her.
Oh God, she's gonna call back now.
Lightweight Bonnie. We'll call her.
You're lighting a fire that shouldn't be lit.
No. Bonnie's all good. I appreciate her. I mean, I agree with Sharon. I can't believe that Bonnie is listening to us on her. I wouldn't be listening to me on my birthday.
Yeah, I would be doing something. Actually, I worked on my birthday, so I'd be working.
Yeah. Welcome to adulthood.
I know.
KGB.
I know.
People don't really care.
Life
After 20,
sucks and then
guess
you
what?
die.
After 21, people don't really care that much.
It's so true.
People don't really care that
Okay,
much.
except for 22, because I remember my 22nd birthday vividly. My best friends kept sending me the Taylor Swift I don't know about you, I'm feeling 22 song.
Mm-hmm.
I got 17 text messages from 17 different people with that same song.
What did I just say a minute ago?
No one cares.
Right. Right.
But I'm saying, after 21, it's all downhill.
Well, I wouldn't say it's all downhill.
No.
Just nobody cares about your birthday anymore. Unless it's a 0. 30, 40, 50, 60. People care
Even
a little more about this.
I'm turning 30 in June. I don't think anyone would care.
I care. Bonnie cares. Bonnie says she'll take you out.
We got to do something for my... No,
Bonnie says she'll take you out for White Russians.
I'll pass.
KGB.
I politely decline.
KGB. You just tell that lady that you'll go out with her and you'll have a White Russian with her on your birthday and just be done with it.
We gotta go. Can I celebrate with my mother instead? I'd rather spend time with my mom. She's more fun. Yeah, I'm man enough.
Cool, man.
I am man enough to say my mom is fun to hang out with.
Okay, then. And on that happy note, we've got to do this. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.